Question for you.
Yeah.
Tell me about your African Uber driver.
Oh yeah, this was like 2 months ago now that I was in an Uber heading to a buddy's house, hang out, pool day. Had to Uber because it was in the middle of St. Louis's absurd heat wave where we were the hottest place in the country for like 6 weeks, and my AC went out in my car, and so I was like, I'm not driving and dying in my car on the way there, and so I ordered an Uber, and it's this African guy who's my Uber driver, and immediately, like, he's already on the phone when he picks me up, and he like stops for 1 second to be like, do you mind if I continue to speak on the phone? And I was like, no, not at all. And so I just got like a 25-minute ride from this guy. By the way, he took the absolute longest way to my friend's house. I tried like at least 2 times to be like, you want to take a right here? We didn't take a right there. You want to go straight? And we turned there. We went through like neighborhoods. But this guy, he was like, must have been something of a relationship
that
guru.
Would upset me.
Well, he was interesting. He was on the phone, clearly talking to first a man for most of the car ride, and clearly this man was confiding in him about his relationship problems, and they're both Nigerian or something. And so he had all these like funny tips. Like the big tip that I remember him saying over and over was like, you are allowing a woman in your own house to dictate to you what you do and what you do not do. This is something that to me is entire nonsense. That is why you are in this situation. This situation has happened to you because she is in your house and she is telling you and you are listening to her. You do not allow her in your house to dictate the rule. He said dictate a lot. To dictate the rules to you.
I'm with him. I'm on board with him because I'm picturing a scenario where like, yeah, you can move in with me. And she's like, hey, clean your shit up. Hey, get your towels off the floor. Hey, come in here. Like, what are you doing? You left your dish on the table? Yeah, it's my table, my dish.
Yeah, he
smash.
This guy was traditional as shit, very traditional Nigerian man. He's like, she is not meant to be in your house instructing you. You are to lead her in the house. When you are in the house, you are in charge, and so you do not listen to her. You are listen, and then he'll be like, listen to me. Listen to what I am saying to you. I say again, when she dictates to you, and you listen to this. You are not taking your power as a man. Your power as a man, that is your house. That is your home. You are the head of the snake. Or whatever the fuck.
I like that. Stay with that.
I added that bit in.
The head of this what?
You are the head of the snake.
Oh, okay.
That's the head of the snake. And now it will become a Celia boy.
I like
you are the locomotive on this train.
If the head follows the tail, what would happen?
What would happen? No, you cannot. You are having problem in relationship because she does not respect you. You are allowing her to be in a part of the relationship that she as a woman should not be a part of. And it was like, I wish I could hear the other guy's point, like all the stuff he was complaining about. But I'd like to say, I think I learned stuff from him. I think I learned a lot about Nigerian masculinity. And I think I'm going to take that to the bank next time I'm in a serious relationship. And never allow a woman in my house to tell me how I must behave. Never.
Well, I'm with Magumbo here. That sounds pretty good to me.
I gave him a good tip and 5 stars.
On the surface, I don't like him driving you all around town. I did not put up.
But like at the end of it, I was fine with like 4 extra minutes of driving to get a little more insight. Yeah,
that's fair.
But then at the end, clearly a woman was on the phone, and so I think he was like mitigating a familial conflict with someone that he knew. Like he was the guru handing out life lessons to people. And I didn't really catch much of the woman.
I would have got a second.
Like, hey,
you know what? Take me back. I want to hear you tell her.
Yes.
You are just a woman. It is your job to shut your trap.
Yeah, what if that's what it was? He like gives the guy like all this build up advice, and then for the woman, he's like, "You are a despicable witch. I am going to kill you because you step out of line in your house with your husband." So I assume it was husband and wife. They're pretty traditional over there, I think. Pretty Christian, mostly in Nigeria.
So you think you picked up a few things from them? Yeah, I think of them as Catholic or definitely Christian in some way or another.
Yeah, they're one of the more Christian. I think not super.
I
Muslim.
worked with a Nigerian guy. He had his name was like Alexander or something. He had like a very white name, and I just remember he
mind.
was like really good with the ladies. He was a good looking guy. He was a big dude, and he called pussy cuckoo. He's like, I know how to please the cuckoo. The cuckoo tried to get away from me sometimes. I do not let it. He's like calling him a whole maneuver.
From this point
He's like,
going forward, I also call pussy cuckoo.
yeah.
Oh,
He's like,
little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
he's explaining how he'd like put a couple of pillows and pile them up and kind of put that around the lady's waist so her butt would be up. He's like, but then you grab the pillow and the cuckoo cannot get away. He was just always talking about like really getting after some cuckoo.
And she's already woozy from the head injury. She does not have a chance to escape my Uber.
Yeah, I don't like them driving me around. Again, I don't take Ubers very much, but usually when I do, it's because I'm dropping something off, like a U-Haul or something, and I know the way home. So I know if they're jerking me around. I wouldn't like that very much.
But wait, am I mistaken? I thought the price was agreed on beforehand.
For
So
Uber,
they're not jerking
yeah,
you around like a taxi driver, like price wise.
Yeah, no, it didn't get more expensive. It just like I would look at my app and it's like, oh, we're not arriving at 12:05 anymore. We're arriving at 12:10.
He's just inexplicably taking a different route.
Just inexplicable. He went away. I'd never considered going to my friend's house.
I hate that even more.
It's frustrating.
Like you're not even profiting from this. You're just wasting.
He was not.
Time.
He was paying no attention to the drive. I could have been holding him at gunpoint in the back, and he would not have known. He was very into this conversation. I just looked at Nigeria's.
You cannot pull a gun in my car.
Yeah,
this is my car. It is disrespectful.
Yeah, you cannot dictate to me in my Uber, even if you have a gun. Like now that I looked at Nigeria's religious breakdown, it seems more likely he was Muslim because they're like 50-50, and he was.
My guy
coming in
definitely
pretty hard with the woman stuff, and that seems to go with Islam.
Yeah, but or in common sense in general, you know, like it does sound like it does sound like his girlfriend is like kind of bossing him around at his house, and I think your Uber driver was on to something.
I think he was too.
Why are men better at everything? What is with that?
I think it's just
because historically, if you weren't at least good at something as a man, you probably weren't going to have any children and pass your DNA along for one reason or another. You had to be good at something. But as a lady,
you still on that Finster account? You keeping tabs?
Well, you said some things. You alerted me to some stuff that a while back. You were a bit coarse with your language. I can't remember exactly how you put it, but no, I haven't been back. Someone would send me a picture of his ass for the longest time, but they've stopped doing that. It's kind of like Wings, where like I wasn't really looking for Finster, but people used to send me stuff all the time of Finster or of Wings, and I'd be like, saw this new thing of Wings. and that's how Finster's ass was for a while. I saw this new picture of Finster's ass. He's on a bed and he's not. I don't think he's wearing anything, man. It's pretty rough stuff. Pretty rough stuff. Like, I don't know. You open the fucking message and there it is. What are you gonna do? Well, I'll tell you. You save it, and you put it in a folder, and you don't tell.
You put it in a folder titled 2016 taxes, and, and then you jack off.
You've been looking at my returns, Taylor. You've been looking at my returns. My girlfriend knows not to look at my tax returns.
Yeah. You open my tax folder. What the fuck is wrong with you?
My tax folder. I'm very personal.
I needed information. 2018.
My financials are personal.
Oh, 2018. Oh, never mind. All right.
So yeah,
you're fine.
No, I haven't. You told me a while back that he was maybe blowing his girlfriend on his OnlyFans, I believe is how you put it.
I saw. Oh, well, I didn't see that, but if I recall, I thought
you told me though.
You clued me in that he was doing more now. Like, because I thought for a long while he was just posting sexy boy photos, but now I think he might be doing.
Maybe it was Scum then. I think Scum is the one who was like, "Hey Kyle, you see your boy Finster is sucking a dick." That's how Scum sounds, by the way.
Yeah, even the way you said that was a really good Scum. I like Scum has good delivery. He's a funny guy. I like.
Yeah,
him.
That's exactly how he delivers. Well, I'll be honest. Scum said some meaner stuff that I won't repeat because I like Finster. But Yeah, he clued me in that Finster had was performing fellatio on his girlfriend. So no, I haven't seen any more. I understand that Finster is making an enormous amount of money, though. That is what I am sure of.
Good for him. Making buku bucks, dressing like a lady, fucking dancing around. I follow him on Twitter, and so I'll scroll past fucking hockey highlights, and then it's just that's those are some. He's working. He's
put some racy stuff on Twitter.
Body. Yeah.
Oh, is he?
That guy is not doing. He's skipping upper body day. He's skipping upper body day, and we need next time he comes on, we need to really drill home. Hey, that's great that you're working on the glutes and the hammies.
Is there any word on him getting fake titties? Like has that been broached again?
I hope he doesn't cross that bridge. There's no coming back from that.
I don't think there's coming back from that either. I think he's just a lady now. I think I'm just gonna completely switch his pronouns whether he likes it or not.
And he's like, I'm a boy, and we're like, shut up, bitch.
Dude, it's when you're having a conversation with him, especially when you're talking maybe to him and you haven't been going back and forth for a while. Sex, it's she. See, I got the pronouns straight right now, but it's like it's easy to slip up and say her because he is so feminine looking.
Yeah.
Thank God his voice isn't tricky, or we would just have a real problem.
Yeah, his voice gives it away.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah. If he had like a cute little girl voice, like you'd have a problem on your hands.
I bet he's been working on it.
Oh yeah, I know he has.
Next time he's on, we're gonna have him do a girl voice only. No, I don't.
Next time, I want him to wear what Kanye makes his wife wear. That outfit that was just like a piece of duct tape going from the top of her vulva to up her gooch and across to her ass track. Just that, and like I think her hands on her nipples. Like I think we need to get a more racy performance out of Finster because that's what the fans want. You look at the comments right now. The number one comment right now: "Show me that pussy."
Mm-hmm.
Number one comment. Look at all those thumbs up down there.
Oh, we're begged constantly.
Everybody's looking for the comment that says "Show me that pussy." They're thumbsing it up. They know they want that Finster pussy. Yeah, and I think that I think if he really wants to promote his OnlyFans, he should come on, a bit disrobed,
but not too much. Leave some to the imagination. Yeah.
Well, Zach will blur afterwards. Like he can show all. Zach's diligent about that sort of thing.
And we'll all be naked too to make him comfortable.
Yeah. It's naked show. Naked PKA.
Actually, I want to do some honing before I go shirtless on the show.
Okay, cocks out for Finster. That's the name of the episode. Just that. PKA 688. Cocks out for Finster.
Yeah,
it's a great idea.
And we all have to show that we're not hard.
Can we make the bubbles so that we're surrounding Finster?
Like secret.
I want like in the
you put him in the middle here.
Yeah, that was pretty awful. But I sent you guys the video of that police shooting, and if you haven't seen it, let me lay out like the beginning of it because nobody's seen the beginning of it. People have, but what everybody has seen is the middle of it. So basically, female cop, male cop, arresting some guy for some such and such. Not a big deal. Taking him from his house or his girlfriend's house. None of that really is relevant. But he's in the back of the police SUV. The bad guy, we'll call him. But not a bad guy.
Jail cell.
Yeah, he's going to jail. He stole something. He did something wrong, whatever. Female cop is still talking to witnesses, friends, family, whatever, over by the house. Male cop walks past the car, and he's milling around back there. An acorn falls from a tree onto a nearby vehicle and we've all heard it. Donk.
Yeah, it goes bang, 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 bang.
Die, Whitey! Die, pig! You know what acorns sound like. And so the cop literally starts running and gunning like it's the end of a Call of Duty fucking campaign. He's screaming. By the way, he's dumping his magazine into the car, and he's screaming for his partner to do the same. And he's like, "I'm hit." He's crawling now. He's got fake gunshot wounds himself. He's crawling like he's doing that thing where you've got your pistol, but you're using it to like crawl along the ground, and he's just dumped all of his bullets into it, and he's begun to reload. He's trying to get away. And Lady Cop, to her credit, didn't do anything wrong because if my partner screams, "I'm hit," And I said, where's it coming from? As he lights up our car. And he says, in the car. I'm giving that car all I got because Bob said so. Bob's on the ground, says he's shot. He's crawling in the street, by the way. He's shot. I thought he was paralyzed. I was like, oh, what happened to Bob? No, but meanwhile, this guy who probably didn't pay some child support or like stole some spray paint or some shit is in the back of the car. Bullets coming from both sides. Must have been 40 fucking rounds through that car because asshole back here's reloading, gonna give him some more. I don't know at what point they realized that no one had shot at them. Like new cops come and they're like, what's going on? And the guy's like,
we're all just putting our bullets in this car.
He's so,
you want in?
Yeah. We're all
This
trying to
cop-
find the guy who did this. Like
this
that
cop would have been less embarrassing if he'd shit himself on stage shaking the president's hand. He is
You know
being
what happened to the victim?
everybody who makes videos is making a video about the humiliating Florida cop who got scared of a squirrel and like blew away a cruiser. It's embarrassing. He's done.
I would hope
And he
so.
needs
You
to be
can't
done.
You can have a trigger finger
he
like
doesn't
that.
have the temperament for that at all.
Oh my God, no. That's
Jesse
that's,
Hernandez. By the way, Hernandez, I think, is the Patriots guy I was thinking of. Not positive.
Oh yeah, Aaron Hernandez was the Patriots guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Um,
Aaron Hernandez.
I don't know.
I think he's dead.
Cowboys too, right? Well, yeah, he killed himself.
Oh,
right?
every bullet missed from both the guy and the girl. The person in the car wasn't hit a single time.
The cops can't fucking shoot.
Yeah, like what percent would
You're
you
just
say
right.
can
That's
shoot
just
well?
true.
Oh, I don't know. Sometimes when I'm watching those videos, I can tell right away by how they hold the gun when they're shooting it, because some of them limp wrist it, and that means that the pistol is able to really rock back and do stuff on its own.
Mhm.
But that means that if you can imagine, you've got the slide on top and you got the grip on the bottom. The way a semi-auto works is they move into sort of independent of each other. The slide has to move while the grip stays stationary. So if you allow the grip to move with the slide, it might not cycle now because you're not holding that grip stationary so that the slide can come back and do its thing. So they'll limp wrist it in a way and the gun will be moving around and the gun will jam. But then I'll see a cop pull his shit out and it'll be clean. Like it won't be just a Glock. It'll have some shit on it. Maybe he'll have like a SIG with a red dot and I'm like, oh, okay. He'll be holding it a certain way and just like, all right, this guy can shoot. But then I'll see people just spamming, just shooting everything in front of them. Can't reload.
I've seen two police. They had rifles, not pistols. And I think you've seen the same videos, Kyle. Like one of them was like, he goes to his car, he goes to the back, he gets out his rifle. It's AR-15 or M16, I can't tell. And I think on the way there, he asked a bystander, like this way, and they're like, "Yep, they're over there." And then the bad guy is just outside, like the doorway. This is a PKA hangout. We watched it, the last one, and I was the only fool who wasn't so sure that was the bad guy that I'd be ready to pull the trigger. Everyone else in the hangout was like, obviously that's him, But yeah, the guy came and he shot from a distance too. I might call it 75 yards.
Yeah.
And every bullet hit its target. Sometimes they're good.
Yeah. I've seen a few like that where a cop pulls out his service rifle and shoots a bad guy at like 100 meters and it hit. He's just, and he goes, subject down. I'm like, oh, that's our guy. That's Officer fucking Badass.
Officer Badass. Officer Badass. So there was the Uvalde shooting. And then right afterwards, there was another school shooting where the cop just like passed everyone. He was the glory guy. He's like, where are they?
Shooter who had the sub 2000, the Keltec.
The trans shooter. Yeah, he was a trans guy. Yeah.
She was.
What did the cop have?
Oh no, he was.
bad.
He was a trans man. I don't know what the cop had an AR, but the shooter had a Keltec sub 2000. It's that piece of shit I was trying to shoot sodas with when I was pepper sprayed. It's a folding gun. I don't know what caliber his was, but it comes in maybe 9 and 40.
You said those were kind of shit. Right?
I mean,
maybe they're neat for what they are.
I don't know what. Yeah, I mean, you could break it over your knee if you wanted, if that's a definition of shit. It's a folding gun. That's the interesting thing. Like it folds in half, and then it's just so small and compact that you could really sneak it into a school.
And it seems like that person. She put it to the test.
Me personally, I just like to throw it in my toolbox because you got a little 9mm rifle you can pull out if you want. It's non-discreet, but that person clearly wanted to murder children with it for some reason. Yeah. Oh, and then there was the Joel Osteen church shooting, of course. I saw people say that was a trans shooter, and then they like went back on that and said it wasn't, but it was definitely a pro-Palestinian shooter because they had "Free Palestine" written on the rifle.
Wait,
as
when
they
was
went
this?
into Sunday, they went into Joel Osteen's church of 40,000 attendees and opened fire. And a local cop and an alcohol agent of the state were packing heat, and they killed the person.
Oh my
I don't
God.
know if the pro-Palestinian person persuaded anybody with the mass shooting.
No, nobody.
No one jumped on his team, huh?
Dude, you're
Not
going to
one.
barge into a 40,000 person mega church with a gun. Like that is a swap meet. Like
What, the
there are
NRA
so many
convention
guns
was
there.
too far away?
Yeah, there's
What are you?
how
the
many
SWAT
people are
roundup
packing
was
in like
too
an
crowded.
Did he get any
evangelical
kills?
church?
It seems like
I think he killed a woman. I don't. It's hard to keep everything straight.
it's just
I
a
mean,
crowd to dump
Yeah.
into. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know how
ignore the church thing. I'm sorry, Kyle. It could be a hockey game, a sports event, like anything. A crowd like that, it just seems like a place to rack up a body count.
It's like the Vegas one,
Vegas.
where like the majority of people who died, I think it wasn't even shooting; it was like trampling, right? Where people stampeded, and
sure
that
was part of
that
it.
really
That, I don't know.
drove up the death count. I think so. Interesting. We
makes-
never learned anything else about that at all.
Dude,
You're obsessed with that one. I don't care. I
It's
feel
the
like
largest one of all time.
We didn't learn. How many was it?
It was in the 50s. It was way bigger than any other.
That's
of our
just your
mass shootings.
pro-Palestinian roots flaring up again, Taylor. Aren't you aware of what happened in Israel on October 7th? That was the largest mass shooting of all time. Don't you dare, you anti-Semite.
Yeah,
Jesus,
yeah,
Taylor.
that definitely wasn't the largest mass shooting of all time.
It absolutely
wait, it wasn't?
At October 7th. I mean, you could like
The
you could
concert. At the concert, specifically at the concert.
Oh,
I was
maybe.
gonna say because
I
I'm
don't know.
having a hard time. Like,
It's apples to apples here.
how do we?
You got a concert in
define
Vegas. You got a
mass shooting?
concert in Israel.
Oh, no, the biggest mass shooting of all time was the invasion of Normandy. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
don't know,
it was the
Okay.
Khmer Rouge where
Well, we're not
the
talking about mass
Cambodian-
shootings on enemy armies, are we?
I don't know. Like, I mean, because
We're
the
not.
October 7th thing
about,
we kind of are.
What was the Bataclan
We're talking
France one?
specifically, like if we're defining it as the biggest mass shooting ever, we're talking specifically about the concert shoot that was going on. And the other side would probably tell you that a lot of those people were shot by Israeli troops in the crossfire, which I hear a lot about, but I, never really saw any proof
no,
either
I
way.
have no idea.
I
No,
Yeah, and they're not going to
what's
tell you.
true.
Of course not.
You can research and find out and still not know what's true, which is where I find myself a lot.
I just trust our leaders.
That's good.
Smart,
Yeah,
smart.
yeah. They've never
Yeah.
lied.
That's why they're in charge, man. You
Yeah.
can't get that high in politics if you're a liar.
It scares me when they disagree. It scares me so much when they all
Well, you
disagree.
you think some like bought and sold guys with no scruples who hate you are in charge? You're crazy. You know what it was, Kyle? You know, remember post show last week when we were talking to Wendigoon and you said, I was talking to Taylor and we both agreed that we would not do a joke about selling our soul to the devil.
Yeah.
At
I
this
wanted to do a
point.
bit on the show where Woody sold his soul to the devil, but I didn't even suggest it to him because I was like, I know that he's an atheist, but he wouldn't sell his soul to an like, all right, here, imagine
To a
this is the
demon.
bit. A guest comes on the show and he has sent Woody the paperwork already, and there's a Lancet in there and everything. He's got to prick his thumb, put a bloody fucking thumbprint on a real contract that says that this man, as an arbiter for Satan himself, gains access to Woody's eternal soul. And it's a well-written contract and everything. I wouldn't sign the contract, is what I'm saying. I wouldn't
I
go
will
through with
sell
it.
you my soul for a crisp $20 bill every week.
You know,
We-
I'll just make it a recurring.
That's the Halloween episode. We
I'll
got to
take
find
it.
someone to buy his soul.
Kyle, you want to go in on want to split Woody's soul? $10.
I so want to buy his soul. Let's both give him $10 and we will be co-owners of his soul.
What if like immediately our lives improve and his collapse?
Like-
Like
what-
immediately.
Your
Like-
bench goes up 75 pounds. You're like, what happened?
Well, that makes
my
sense.
God.
You guys would have split mine. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just,
Like
just get more powerful in every way. But every week, Woody looks like the guy from Thinner. He's just like becoming tiny,
Yeah.
like the crypt.
He's-
He's turning into the Crypt Keeper a week.
he's
at a
looking
time.
more and more like a Mexican alien every
Yeah.
single week, just kind of crisping up and fading away, just eyes sinking further and further into his
He's like,
skull.
hey,
Yeah.
about that soul, and we're like, yeah, I don't have it with me. You know, I'll remember next week, and we don't remember next week.
It'll be like when we get to the pearly gates, it's like if our soul gets declined, we can be like, really? Let me check my wallet. Try this one. And they'll be like, this is an even worse half of a soul. It belongs to the devil. What are you doing with this guy? And it's like, oh, well, you're right. I guess I don't want we shouldn't bring his soul to heaven.
Yeah, we'll leave it here.
If
we probably should sell it to the devil at some point if we're going to be the owners of the soul ourselves. I wanted to find.
I don't want to be involved in a devil deal. That can't help.
I think. Well, it's Woody's soul we're giving them. It's not ours. You know, if it were that, then I wouldn't.
Yeah, but God's going to know that we were middlemaning for the devil.
God's going to know that we purchased Woody's soul. I don't think that we're getting out of this.
I think that the reason we purchase it is to keep him from selling it to Satan. Would Woody rather have his soul possessed by the Lord of Darkness or two retards? Clearly, us.
I kind of.
I wouldn't do anything with it. I'd put it
that
in
was
my
the whole thing.
You want to actually sell? Oh, well, I was being more benevolent. I was thinking I would take my half of the soul contract, put it in there in my
Kyle's
safe.
in the business of flipping souls, it would seem.
You're going to make a cool
that's exactly what I thought.
$15
this is
The Simpsons did this first.
This is capitalism.
Yeah, the Simpsons
right
did do this.
Here we have Woody,
Bart
who has no interest in his soul. He finds it to have zero value, and here we have Satan, who finds nothing to be more valuable. You know, it seems like you want to be.
I really
that
need to cut out the middleman. Maybe I'll get rid of my gray hair.
What would actually happen is we would get bamboozled by the devil because he's smarter than we are, and he would get us by virtue of the fact that we sold the soul to him. He'd be like, now you've lost your souls also. 3 for 1 for him.
Too late, fucker.
Too late?
I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion. You're thinking about the devil.
I already sold mine.
I think Johnny plays the fiddle better than the devil. No, I have that backwards.
Everyone knows that
beat Johnny.
The devil plays better than Johnny. Everyone knows the devil plays better than Johnny. Mostly because he has accompaniment. Those demons and then a band of demons joined in, and it sounded a little something like this. And they fucking play, and it's like, oh, that sounds pretty good. But when the devil hits his lick, it's like, that's a way cleaner, longer, better lick than what Johnny hit. It's definitely superior.
When that song is performed, does the same person do both parts?
Charlie Daniels. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I had it in my head. There were like 2 fiddlers on stage. One was clearly better.
Charlie Daniels is known as a very good fiddler, as you might imagine, since he actually has the whole song about the thing. Is he dead? He's a fit guy. You know, I remember that. I remember him being very svelte, very, very long and slender. No,
I thought he was a big fat fiddler who was from olden times.
Yeah.
So I would not sell my soul to the devil. That seems like there's nothing to gain there, and a whole lot to lose.
There he is.
Your soul.
Down here, rising up your bow and play your fiddle hard. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Hope he's alive.
He looks like he's alive.
Good for him. Rocking it.
Oh no, he died in 2020. Now I look better.
Oh, was it COVID?
That's a good question. But
he doesn't look like the kind of guy who'd line up for a vaccine.
I bet it was. Pretty much heart disease is the easiest layup. Pretty much everybody dies of that.
I remembered him being heavier, but in that photo Zach showed there, he looks. For those of you who don't know, Charlie Daniels band. Check him out on YouTube. Some country music from the.
Taylor, I'm going to ask you to pronounce this for me.
Hemorrhagic stroke.
I made a good choice.
Actually, I'll say this: Elon Musk is building rockets to space, while the other billionaires are building bunkers in the earth. I like Elon. I like the space thing. I don't care if his car rusts. I don't care if it randomly takes off and kills people. I don't care that he exaggerates. Even though I am on the side of killing those Russian invaders, I kind of like that he said, no, I don't think I can let you use Starlink to do a whole coordinated attack on their Black Fleet. It feels like I'm Sergeant Elon all of a sudden, and I didn't sign up for that. This is a telecommunications network. Like, if I do that, then what's to stop the Russians from considering my satellites legitimate war targets and me maybe a legitimate target? I don't really want to do this.
Starlink now?
No. Oh, the Russians are using Starlink?
They are, but I don't know details beyond that. I don't know if they're stolen. Yes. I don't know if they're stolen satellites. What are the freaking dishes on the ground called?
Receivers?
Sure, we'll call them receivers. I don't know if that's what they're called, but maybe they took them from the Ukrainians and now they're using them for themselves. Maybe they have some bootleg device.
Oh, you just turn that shit off. It's a subscription service.
Maybe they don't know who owns it, is their record keeping, but apparently they're using Starlink now. It's a thing.
I'll have to look into that. I hadn't seen that. That's crazy because I thought of it as like it'd be like stealing somebody's cell phone and like, oh, the bad guys have your phone now. Now they can use it.
Yeah,
man. I called Singular. Or I don't know who you call.
Like, fuck! Putin got my Hulu login. How am I going to handle this? I got to cancel it. Easy
Let's see,
peasy.
from Forbes, trusted news source.
From Forbes.
I'm not disabling my ad blocker. I'll just choose to believe you.
Wall Street Journal says the Russians have thousands of them. Is that a better source?
I guess. Oh, I wasn't dogging on Forbes. I don't know anything about news network.
I find Forbes to be a little
Ukrainian Lieutenant
what
General.
is the attention grabbing?
Oh, New York Post, right?
I was going for like their little clickbait
Tabloid?
or a little tabloid. That's better. Forbes is a little bit tabloid, which is funny.
Yeah.
They had a really respected magazine, and their website just became garbage.
Garbage. Yeah, it's weird. I guess you go for what sells. If everybody's doing that buttoned up sort of, here's the news today from older white folks and how we see things. But if you get a little more sensational and a little more tabloidy, I guess it works better. Well, that's weird. Maybe I don't understand fully how Starlink works because I know that when I've looked into it, because my dad's in that internet hellhole, it's like you pay for the dish the price has changed because it's one of those early adopters things. $700 for the dish, the receiver, and then it's a subscription service that you're paying like monthly fees, and they get you a certain bandwidth. I would guess maybe there's different plans even for like faster speeds, but it seems odd to me that I guess he's just providing service to Russians.
And that article Woody linked, it says that SpaceX has said that the people selling those in Russia are scamming them and that they don't work in Russia.
Oh.
And I don't know.
They might be using them in Ukraine? ?
I have no idea. This is the first I've heard of any of this. But Starlink as a whole is kind of cool. Like it's going to be great when it's awesome everywhere. Can you imagine?
I think it's awesome most places. Like I think they're almost there. Have you seen how many there are? Like I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen the graphics and all that shit, and it seems like a lot, but it's also
like it's like thousands of them.
Satellites.
I've seen. I can't see it with my naked eye, but maybe it was a good lens. But you can see they're in a band, moving around it's like this one followed by that one followed by that one. You can see them in this like very straight line moving.
How do they decide who gets like rights to space real estate? Because what if some like
there was we signed the powers that be had a whole talk about space and decided when they decided they couldn't ended the nuclear testing in space, right? I know they've decided
is that just America and Russia? Like, because who else could do that shit?
Yeah,
China, I guess. Okay, can India?
Well, if we're talking about launching satellites, anybody can launch a fucking satellite, obviously.
What was the exact question, Taylor? Can India?
I was meaning like Kyle was like, oh, the powers that be kind of decided, sliced up the bits in the celestial realm up there. And I was like, oh, well, the powers that be, when they decided that, must have literally been like, all right, here's a Russian guy and an American guy, and they're deciding.
Probably so.
And so maybe now with other countries, they're going to be pissed.
Well, whenever there's actually the technology to go up there, like that show Woody and I like for All Mankind, if it was like going to the wild, to California back in the day, if it was an arduous trip, but yeah, we can all do it. It's not a big deal. We just go. It's hard, but we get there. Then we might be like, yeah, that treaty was from 1967 when we decided that no one owns the moon. Turns out we kind of do own the moon because we're here. And we have anti-space guns, so you can't land on the moon anymore. And so now we have to blow up their anti-space guns on the moon. And now we have a moon war, which is not done enough in sci-fi. There
needs to be something on the moon worth fighting for.
Just real quick, I self-fact checked. India landed on the moon last year.
Yeah, little rover
not with
thing.
people though. Doesn't count. We are so far past giving a shit about a robot landing on the moon. India shouldn't even get props for that.
India
done that
said
100 times.
No sooner than 2040. They did say by 2040.
Their plan to go to the moon again is upsettingly stupid. There's so many rockets involved. Our plan.
Okay.
Our plan. Like there's so many rockets involved with getting all the fuel up into space to like couple that bitch up. It makes me wonder how they did it the first times. It's like,
Dude,
damn,
there was
it's a
technology
shame we
in the
threw away
60s.
all those rockets from the 60s.
I guess they don't want to do it in a tuna can this time around, like a
Fuck that. That's
like a
bullshit,
ball
man.
of tinfoil.
Nah, it's bullshit, dude. I'm not buying it. They're like, we're building a more spacious. We want more leg room. That's all. That's why it's taking an extra 50
Yeah.
years to do
It's
it
like,
again.
what the fuck? In 1969, you went there with tinfoil and string. Like, and we can't do it now.
It was very
I saw
dangerous.
the
That
Tom
chick
Hanks
saved
movie.
the other
Yeah.
characters and became president.
That
That's
was a
little luck
TV
involved.
show. Apollo 13 is one of the all-time greatest space movies. That
is a movie, Kyle. You can't believe it.
It's a movie.
That shit happened though. That shit happened. I love Tom Hanks up
Get all
there.
over my scene.
I can't remember which astronaut it was. They had to calculate their own reentry and maybe paint on the glass and use that to like get themselves home.
That's a movie. Right.
I know it's happened in a movie, but it happened in real life too. Like it's based on a real thing that I think a Russian did.
That a guy did who's doing math up there and had to.
A friend of mine flew.
I'm gonna find it.
There's a discontinued kind of helicopter that the army uses. It's like a Yahweh or does anyone know their helicopters?
I know Apache, and that's it.
This is like it's more silent and not as cool or advanced. But anyway, it can shoot missiles. So the way that they did it is they shot missiles and they watched them. Then they took a grease pin on their windshield and used that as their target.
Interesting.
Yeah. They just retired this thing like 3 years ago.
That's pretty ingenious. Very smart.
It's pretty low tech.
But it's to think of something like that in the
Iron
moment. And be
Sights version with a helicopter. Yeah, that's what they do.
So Kyle, you don't think we're going to the moon in the 2020s now? Oh, you're muted, my friend.
No,
I told
no, we're not going in the 2020s. You know what? It will take finding a resource there or a military advantage there, or it will take a very motivated president. Like it'll take an individual. It will take a guy who's like, man, space is my jam. Space is my fucking jam.
Why doesn't Elon Musk go personally to the moon to flex on everybody?
You'd have to ask him. I think he's got his own plots and plans, right?
No one's going to the moon right now. Oh, by the way, that helicopter is called a Kiowa for the six of you that cared what it was called.
There's some helicopter out there who's like, yes.
Like, I want to know what helicopter. What he's talking about. What the
was.
fuck is a Yahweh? That's God and Jewish or something.
Named after the Kiowa Indian tribe, of course.
Yes. Kind of insulting. We named them after
Apache,
Indians.
Comanches, you didn't say a word. You hear Kiowa and suddenly you're not so happy.
Yeah. Well, it's more disrespectful. It's kind of flexing on them, right? It's like they didn't know how to, they never figured flight out. And now
we're going to name all our fucking fences. Like, look, we named this fence Apache after the people who chased buffaloes around for centuries.
You know, those like pretty cool Stone Age tribes that we dominated. Fucking 4 games in a row, swept the Indians. It wasn't even close.
We named this wheel Neanderthals. They didn't have that.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or Cro-Magnon. Maybe that's, I don't know, whatever.
Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal, all the old ones, all the hits, the classic humans.
I like those Hobbit people of Indonesia. I think those are by far the coolest people. No. The Hobbit people of Indonesia that they found. It was an offshoot of the human race. It was one of our cousins, like the Neanderthal were.
The Russian economy is fine.
How
are the Russian?
I'm not an economist.
The Russians are running out of tanks and bullets, right? Starting 2 years ago. And now they're not. Now they're fine. It turns out they're robust manufacturing.
They're absolutely running out of those things. They're using North Korean bullets.
I have a hard time.
Here's the thing, Taylor. Think about this.
Really
before we move to Russia's economy.
Propaganda. Okay.
Here's the thing. If we're going what kind of world is it where our ally Ukraine, you probably don't want to see them that way, like can't count on us to give them the artillery shields they need when Russia's ally North Korea can? Like Russia can count on North Korea, but Ukraine can't count on us to get them the shells they need.
I mean, that's just kind of a weird way to put it. I don't care about Ukraine at all.
What I'm telling you is they are running out. They ran out. Like
I don't. Russia has not run out of ammunition. They were
why
saying
do they have
in early
to get more
2020
from in other countries. Other countries are sending them ammunition because they're almost out because they're running so low.
I mean that
they're shooting.
You
North
can
Korean
find
shells.
sources that say it's not because they have been saying they're running out of ammunition for years, And then
If
one of the chief like pushbacks against that,
if
that
we're
was even
playing
on
paintball,
CNN at the time.
we're playing paintball. I'm shooting red. You're shooting blue. You see me start shooting blue. You know I'm running out. Even if I have 2 pods on my back, I have borrowed from Taylor because I am so low. That's the situation on the ground. Factually, they're so low on shells. They're importing them from North Korea. They're going to Kim Jong-un. That's got to be a fun meeting to go to for Vladimir Putin to say, "Oh, excuse me, chubby leader, I need some more ammo."
Let's say that's all above board, and
Well, that's all
American.
true. Those are like facts.
Actually, I
mean,
can back up Kyle. They are getting lots of ammo. And by the way, the failure rate on those shells apparently is really high, and it's a problem.
Oh, we do the best we can.
Probably. We do the best we can. You calm down.
Didn't mean
You
to
come
insult
over to my
North Korean
house,
artillery shells,
I
but
give
yeah.
you finest dog meal. Like no, your point about like, oh, Russia is getting it from North Korea, even if so, that's fine. I don't want to supply Ukraine with any more money or munitions, because all that does is empty our supply and make more money for military industrial companies at the expense of the American taxpayer.
Those are American
We
companies.
don't need those. Yeah, but that's not the same thing. We could have better industry. It doesn't have to be the only thing we manufacture here is guns and bullets. We could have bigger, more robust industries.
Well, that's Russia. Russia's only exports are petroleum and guns and bullets. We export all sorts of things.
I think
As
like
far
Taylor's
as
point is, if we're going to do government spending to boost the economy, why not put it into roads and better bandwidth and I don't know, parks
Sure.
or
Yes,
something
securing
like
the border, deporting illegals, healthcare, like all of these things would be way better.
I was looking at the numbers on it's so weird how they define a guy walking across the border illegally, whether it's a migrant encounter or whatever, but the numbers were staggering. I think it was 10,000 a day. It was 10,000 a day.
Yeah.
Or something.
Can I jump in?
We're being caught or something.
I'm struggling with these numbers. I saw 6,000 a day caught. Apparently 5,000 a day is like a trigger point.
I
of
extrapolated to get to 10.
Okay. But sometimes I see like this little town with a population of 20,000 is suffering from 6,000 migrants a day. I'm like, well, that doesn't seem right. Like, how is its population 10 grand if it's increasing by 6 grand a day? Are we not counting people leaving? Are we counting people passing through?
Well, they're illegal.
Well,
so
no,
they're not part of the
Yeah,
population.
they're not part of the census.
They're
So
getting.
We don't count the
counted, though.
dogs either.
and then
I
big
think
non-government
illegals are
organizations.
counted,
Yeah,
but
they take money from us to rehouse these people and pay for their medical care and pay for their needs.
I hate
And
that.
so we foot the bill of the whole world and we get fucked.
You know what the answer is, Taylor?
What? Kings? Going back to kings and queens?
sounds like electing Kyle's the answer.
No,
You know?
much simpler. Much simpler. It's just demographics, Taylor. It's demographics that solves this whole problem. Now, you're probably aware
Mm.
that folks from our
That democracy is a
socioeconomic status.
racial headcount?
Leave all that behind. People from our socioeconomic group, we swim in great numbers. Isn't that correct?
Sure.
You swim, right? Woody's
I
a
swim.
fucking professional swimmer. I don't drown. You know what I mean? You throw me in
Yeah.
the water, I'll live. All right,
Oh, I'll
that's
swim.
swimming.
Yeah.
That's
Wait.
swimming.
I think I see where Kyle's going.
We need a whole
Now,
country of swimmers,
that's
is what Kyle's
because
saying.
That's because
Global
we
warming.
are white people from the first world. Now, you only have to go to black people in the first world, and that number drops to a staggering like 34% or some shit. When you go to South America, Taylor, are you aware that number drops below 25%?
Is your answer going to be
Huh.
rising global waters? Oceans
25%
expanding?
of the people who are trying to cross into our border cannot fucking swim. And that's why those buoys that Texas are using are ingenious. It's very large. They're in a chain like a pearl necklace, and they're so close together. There's no gap. They're touching. And they go below the water and above the water. And they drown people. They find dead Mexicans on them all day long because the Rio Grande is 4'9" at its lowest.
So pretty
Yeah.
deep for those folks.
That's pretty deep for those folks,
Yeah, they're
especially if you
pretty
can't
short.
swim and you
They're
got a
little.
gaggle full of litlins coming along with you. You know, you're kind of trying to coyote
Dude,
across.
what I want our immigration policy to be is a bunch of
My
bouncers
grandfather's a
who only,
Honduran immigrant.
who only let hot chicks into the country. That's it. You're a dude, you don't
didn't
get in.
swim, though.
We're full. We only let in hot chicks, and I don't think that we would see a faster rising of an all-female SS than if we were only letting in hot Polish girls. Like that, immediately, the most liberal of liberal women would be like, "What the? we gotta shut this down. What's feminine women who are not overweight? What? This is bad news for us. But yeah, I just think we're full. I don't think I want anybody else coming in. Let's just have a hiatus on it entirely. We clearly
I do want them coming in. I want lots of people coming in.
Why?
But
what do we get out of it? The vast majority of people who come here take government service in one way or another.
Is that true?
It is.
I want to.
They take it in housing. They take it in food.
Well, just because of the initial government response,
it's so difficult to get accurate numbers on a lot of topics. Like, for example, in numbers, the immigrants are creating entrepreneurship, their own businesses. They create jobs. They hire other people in a much greater percentage than natives do. Then, like, if you're born in America, you're likely to be an employee. If you come to America, you're likely to start a business. That's the truth. So people who are pro-immigrant, like, hammer on that drum all day long. Look at these people. They commit fewer crimes. They start more businesses. They become wealth builders. They hire other people. Aren't they wonderful? And then if you talk to, I'll just say it, the Republican side, they're like, they're MS-13. They're not sending their best. They're rapists, murderers, etc.
Well, you don't come to.
And I'm like, where's the truth?
The truth is that one group in that conversation you're talking about is discussing high caste Indians in the tech space who move here and are millionaires and who had like servants their entire life, and then they start a business. And then the other side, the Republicans or right wingers, are pointing out illegal immigrants and saying these people are way more likely to engage in crime. They're way more likely. Like the hordes of people showing up at our southern border are not here to make a new Twitter. They're here to get free dental care and free housing and take advantage of this wonderful country.
We have free dental?
That's what they're doing.
Yeah,
they do. You don't. Kyle, if you go to the hospital because that tree falls on you, you pay a bill, don't you? But if Kyle Herrerez goes there, if you go down to fucking Cancun and then break in and then you go, okay, like say that, now you might get a free cap put on your tooth.
Just look, I think it's common sense. You have to have a secure border for your country to mean anything to me, because if we're going to say, hey, this is us and that's you, then there needs to be a fucking line like at the grocery store, unless you're going to pay for somebody else's groceries. All right, you put that little fucking thing between your dirty fucking potted meat and my pears. All right, because I don't want to pay for your potted meat, and you certainly don't want to pay for my pears. That's all. I loved the idea of the Trump wall. They've continued to build that thing. Although what they do is they put up Connex boxes and they cover them with razor wire over the dry land. I've seen a lot of that.
Maybe does that sound right?
Yeah. And then obviously and then those buoys in the water are genuinely effective and stop them. They're a lot of people drown on them, but I mean, if you're stupid enough to go out there and think you can take on that giant string of buoys, like if you see it, you'd be like, I can't get past that. Unless you can swim. You can swim. You swim right under. You just go to the bottom of the river and swim on under if you were just a competent swimmer.
I mean, the biggest like pro-immigration people out there are big business owners because it drives down their cost of labor. Like that's why Elon Musk wants huge levels of immigrants, because he can pay them less to work in his factories than an American citizen. Yes, he does. He's like, we need to greatly increase legal immigration. Why does he want that?
I think that.
What is a huge
legal immigration?
No, that's retarded. What does it do when you import a huge class of people, laborers, who are willing to undercut the cost of labor for the native population? What you get are lowering wages for the native population, and that's a net negative for the middle class. So of course Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos want this. Of course they do, and of course Democrats want it because it's basically just voters. Right?
You've seen him talk about the border and go there, right?
He has, yeah. And he'll do his little song and dance where he's like, oh, we need to get rid of illegal immigrants and maximize legal immigrants by 10. How do you do that, Elon? Oh, well, we drastically reduce the qualifications for it and get you your cheap labor. All right, great, Elon. Awesome.
I haven't heard him saying that. I saw him at the border.
Well, that's how you play it forward. That's what he wants. Like, what does he have to gain from high levels of immigrants? Cheaper labor. I'm gonna believe what he says and not like imagine what I want him. No, that's not imagining. It's just like one step away. I want lots of labor.
I'll give you forecasting.
If you remove the specifics of Elon's conversation, I felt the way Taylor did when I worked in tech. So in tech, they bring over people on what's called an H-1B visa. And oh my gosh, I've talked about it before. Like I was on a team of 20 people. There were 2 Americans, or maybe I forget it was 2 white guys or 2 Americans. I think it was 2 Americans. there must have been 16 Indians and then some like Filipino and whatever Vietnamese guy. Remember? In any case, oh my God, like the H-1B visa thing is really real, and all of these guys come over. One, they accept lower rates because they're just happy to be in America, and they're higher than they would have had in India. Two, I had another point. They accept lower. Oh, they're absolutely captive. If they want to change jobs, or, you know, the way that employees fight back is they go to the next place that pays them more. And that's how wages kind of, you know, you get paid what you're worth. They can't do that. If they were to change jobs, they get deported. That's boom. That's the end. So they're basically indentured servants who have come over here. They're forced to keep this job until they get to the end of it or get a green card. That's the goal, to get a green card.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I'm over here trying to make more money. And I got this guy from India that I'm competing with who's more than willing to, they literally don't have beds. I had like half of my coworkers didn't have beds. That was the frugal lifestyle that they lived. And I'm like, this sucks. I'm over here trying to get beds for kids and they don't even have one for themselves. And it drives my wages down. I felt like it sucked. But if you're running a nation, there's a balance between hooking up Woody with less competition and advancing the state of IT and telecom.
Were any of them as good as you?
One. Yeah, Patabi was better than me.
There you go. One guy out of that huge group. Like, you being given what you needed in that situation.
Excuse me, my friend.
Is better. There's
Your
plenty.
math does not add up. You must ask, are there 3 of them that cost as much as Woody? No. No. No.
I was using this while shitting in your nice public street earlier. And actually, I'm going to invite 11 of my cousins, and then we are going to really ruin a neighborhood near here. That shit is fucking
the way
annoying.
They pack a 2-bedroom apartment would have like 7 people in it.
Yeah.
And they were wrecking apartments. Like, I had one guy working for me. He got into art. Right. So he was painting paintings, sculpting clay on like his carpeted floors. Like, there's no way he didn't fuck that apartment up.
Oh, of course he did.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I totally empathize with that, Woody. Like, you're correct. They were stealing money. That company was undercutting you by bringing in less qualified individuals from a foreign land, and then paying them wages that you can't possibly compete with because you are raising an entire family there. The same way that translates down too. Like, you're in a high skill thing. Do you go down to a lower skill or a lower class
if I'm
wage?
a drywall guy, the same thing exists, just at half.
Except even more intense then, because there's less of a threshold of it, and so like way more people are qualified to do that. And so you undercut huge swaths of the population and their ability to build a healthy living and have families because, I can't compete with this Indian guy because he asks for 72 grand a year and he has to take it because he's effectively an indentured servant.
So I agree with that, but that was just the first half of my point. The second half of my point is, if you're a leader, you're trying to balance the needs of, say, Woody or some drywaller, and like the nation that benefits from having cheaper labor and more productivity and a growing population. And I don't know where the bullseye should be.
I think that I understand what you're saying, but the principal concern of our government in that situation should be providing comfort and a good living to the American people.
If you take that too far, I do very well in the short term and very poorly in the long term.
I think we do fine in the long term.
And the pursuit of happiness.
The most powerful, relatively, the United States government and nation has ever been in comparison to the rest of the world was in what? Post World War II, 50s, 60s, 70s? And that was 50s, 60s, and 70s was a time of drastically low immigration. Did we see America fall and become a weak little nothing because they couldn't get more people to do drywall and computer programming for cheap? Or did we see a robust period of American dominance because we were prioritizing American people? And that's what needs to be done again, is American people are getting fucked and they need a helping hand from the government they fund.
Let's talk about September 3rd, 1945.
Dude, I want to talk about Total War Warhammer 3. I'm turned over it, Kyle.
Well, this is kind of the same thing. September 3rd, 1945, the day after World War II. Yes, I did look it up. Why didn't we just keep going? All right, so hear me out. Japan has surrendered. Now they're an ally. A broken ally, I get that, but they're certainly not an enemy to be
vassal of sorts
to be fussed with.
I made out like a bandit at Chipotle yesterday, where I did trick them. I went through and I was getting my burrito bowl, and I hadn't done it in a while. I'd been like a normal member of society, or I'd be like steak and
You had
chicken.
the full
double meat.
uniform on, like the dress blues, right?
I had the dress blues, yes. Well, I was in my wheelchair, and and I'd painted on scars. But I got up there and I was like, chicken bowl. I watch him give a big old heaping spoonful of that chicken. Now the scoop size has been established. Now it's been established. And then I go, he's about to move me on to the vegetables, and I go, you know what? I want a double scoop of steak. I don't care if it's more. And then he gives me another big old juicy scoop of the steak, same size as the chicken scoop. Whereas if I would have done it out of order, it would have been a little bullshit one of each, where they like shake some off the spoon, shaking meat off the spoon when I'm trying to eat here. And so I got a hell of a deal. But unfortunately, by the time I got down to the end, they hadn't forgotten that I was a double meat guy. Every once in a while, the signals get mixed at Chipotle, and you can slide on out of there. I'll never lie.
How much more is the meat? A double meat. What are you paying extra?
I think
$4.
It's like $3-4 extra.
$4 is not an insignificant charge.
Yeah, it takes the meal from like $15 to $20.
I kind of want to try this. I want to go in when it's kind of slow, and I'll be like, hey, how about I tip you $5 and you really hook me up here and just have him make me a mega bowl?
Yes.
He'd be down like that.
You gotta find a guy down like that. Like he needs to know that you and I are working against the owner of this establishment. We're on the same team.
Not everybody's like that though. And on WhatsApp, Taylor and I like to go back and forth about historical events and tragedies and such. And I sent him this image of white people throwing slaves overboard a slave ship. And I said, did you know that they would throw sick and dying slaves overboard to drown because the insurance covered drowned slaves, but it did not cover slaves who were sick or died after they arrived for other illnesses? And Taylor's takes about 2 seconds to say, you ever wonder why the slave auctions were closed on Saturdays? And I went, gotta go.
It was a good line. It was a good joke.
I don't get it. Help me. Someone carry me through this.
Type it, Taylor. Don't say it.
We'll readdress that one on a later date. That's a fourth-hour one. Yeah. No, I've never been to a protest.
Ever come close?
Not even 1%. No, I've never thought about going.
Yeah, I haven't either. I remember when the Wall Street stuff was happening, thinking it would be fun to like.
Yeah, I was in college. I remember people like doing their little.
I was dating a girl in college.
Yeah, there we go. We were both connected in that way.
We were both in the dorms. Yeah, sucked.
Yeah, I remember that everybody was very displeased with bankers and financial institutions. Fair enough.
And I was with this girl that was so fucking red-pilled. I would pick her up at her school, and we'd go out and get something to eat. And I remember talking about those people and being like, I hate those people. I wish they'd hit them with a fire hose or something. And she'd go on some like conservative like economics rant because she's taking fucking economics at Oglethorpe, which is. So it was beautiful. Loved that shit. We could hate together against the. That's always fun when you find somebody you can hate other people with. They have common hates.
Yeah, that's what love is made of.
Romantic relationships are 99.9% friendships. I mean, you're not banging all the time. You just need someone who you enjoy spending time with, like doing all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I thought you were gonna say that the girl you were dating was a like hippy dippy kind of chick, and you had to, you were kind of an odd couple.
No, the opposite.
You had to drag her towards reality.
No, the opposite. I've definitely dated some like real hippy dippy chicks before. Never so bad where they like had armpit hair or didn't use real deodorant.
Yeah.
Because that's the far hippie side, when they stop shaving and start going to some sort of deodorant that doesn't work. like any kind of deodorant that doesn't have that aluminum like take the cancer, dude. You stink.
Aluminum powder is what does it?
That's what.
Probably not aluminum powder. It's probably like aluminum and then some other chemically name. But it's
supposed to be bad for you because it leaches through your skin into your.
I always wrote it off as just magic.
Nope, it's heavy metals you're introducing to your body.
Oh,
yeah.
It's better than stinking.
Mhm.
It depends how bad you stink.
Have you've been to PAX? You know.
Yeah, I think they should have chemtrailed that whole area with aluminum
A
phosphate.
little
or whatever
indoor
it's called.
drone that crop dusts everyone with deodorant would be great.
That could be
Yeah.
good. Yeah, people that was baffling going to PAX and being like, oh, this is like not a joke meme kind of thing. Like some of these people are genuinely so stinky.
Not
That-
some of them.
Oh, some of them. I don't remember. a
So
shit ton of
many.
them.
The room stink.
You'd walk through like hot shot areas. Like
Mhm.
I experienced that when I went to Gen Con 2006 and I first tried Magic the Gathering. Lot of hot pockets throughout that.
It was
convention
not a
center
hot
where it
pocket
was
in
fun.
Boston. I'm telling you. So at the Boston Convention Center, when at PAX East, when you go down these escalators to the ground floor,
Okay,
the
you're
main like area, and it's big, and there's probably 3,000 people walking around. You descend into this stink cloud.
Like
this
BO
stink
is
layer.
heavier than air.
It's
Yes,
it's
settles at the
actually
bottom.
it's actually humid. Yeah, it's more humid at the bottom
It
of
was
those.
yeah.
I have a
remember that
theory
now.
about it. Like I'm being too forgiving, but maybe these are just people who are 14 or 15, and while it is outrageous to not wear deodorant as an adult, if you're at that age where you first start wearing deodorant, which like 11 for Taylor,
Yeah.
then yeah, maybe they're just not on board yet. Like I wore deodorant probably before I needed it, but kids in my high school, there were a few that didn't get on till after they needed it.
Yeah.
It was adults,
Some of
though.
them were adults.
It was adults though, you know. Like,
Okay,
it was expensive to get in there. It was the middle of the day and shit. Like everybody in there was like 20 years old or so, and they just stunk. It's that group of people. It's like internet fucking nerds. Don't have
Can
good
you
eyes.
believe internet nerds? Those people.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a fucking internet
Listen.
nerd, but I've been wearing like I can get that deodorant going. Like I swear to God, people with bad hygiene. That's just the basic shit, man. You should not be exposing people to your stink.
Yeah. It's very
It's
rude.
impolite, but more importantly, it's going to prevent you from getting pussy. There are some easy ways to increase your like 1 to 10 scale, and
Yeah.
deodorant is amongst the first things you hit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
but
but
I
a fat
mean,
guy
like,
that smells
that's-
good.
That's like saying me passing the cardio test is keeping me away from being an astronaut. Like there's so many things between some of those stinky guys and pussy that like they're not a speed stick
One
away from
step
from
at a
conquering.
time.
Yeah,
One
but I
step at a
disagree, right? They're just, I would argue that the stinky guy actually has pussy available, just not one that he'd want. So what he's doing is he's moving himself up the tree.
Yeah,
It's-
especially
and
in
it's-
that group. Yeah, you start looking a lot better when you take care of basic stuff.
If you stink though, like I'm not even going to have a conversation with you to find out if your personality's okay. I'm not going to find out if we have similar interests. I'm not going to care where you live and you're just down the way. None of that will matter because I'm going to get out of this conversation. There were so many people I would meet at those cons who were just offensive, and when they'd walk away, we'd all have a big laugh about it. That's the other thing. You're constantly getting laughed at behind your back if you stink like that. There were creators that stunk. I remember there were creators that stunk. I don't remember exactly who. White Boy.
Name names.
Oh, there's one that people talk. I didn't even meet him in person, I don't think, but people talked about him.
If you wrote his name, I'd be like, yeah, that's it. Because I can't think of it right now. But
not
I can't.
Sure.
But there was a stinker, and it's like a bad one. Like this guy's shown up to the first day of this con where he's going to meet us all, and like he hasn't bathed in days and days and days. He clearly stinks. I think it was that guy. Yeah, because he wasn't. He was actually like a nobody who had some money, who was like giving money, I think, to some creators and kind of like sidling in, if that makes sense. That's the way I remember that guy now. I think he was that kind of fellow. But he smelled awful. I do remember that. And I remember as soon as he walked away, we were all like, "Did you smell that motherfucker? That was him? I thought it was you." Oh, that's what it was. The first time I met White Boy in person ever.
I've heard this, yeah.
That guy was also there. And so White Boy thinks that I stink because like the three of us like coalesce at the same time. White Boy blames me and I blame him for the stink. Neither one of us realizing it's this third party. And so we both think the other is like a smelly, nasty motherfucker. And we keep believing that until like maybe later that night or a day or two later. And when we were like, somebody was like mentioned, "Hey, did you smell like dude over there?" And I was like, it was him. Oh, and we like had this huge moment of like realization where we both thought the other had stunk or something.
You brush your
Yeah.
teeth? Oh,
Me too.
We've got so much in common.
Oh,
God
multiple
damn.
times a week.
Did you already shower today?
Yeah.
Yeah. Twice. What?
You got more than one pair of pants. That's what you're telling me right now.
One of them like rain pants or something? Like
Yeah. Well, these are 4 pairs of pants, seasonal. Yeah, it is offensive to be around someone who has bad BO.
like
If it's a non-BO thing, if I'm like playing hockey or I've been outside and like doing yard work or something,
How
and someone
hot would a
walks up and
girl-
they stink. Like,
how hot would a girl have to be for you
Oh.
to tolerate it from the first meeting? And you know how it'd be. This should be a Seinfeld episode. That at first you would think like blame it on something else. Maybe she played tennis right before.
Yeah.
Oh, the shower was out. They didn't have any shower.
Yeah,
But-
she'd have to be very attractive for me to be interested in a girl who has. I don't even know, because I would be embarrassed to take her around my friends, because then we're going to be the stinky couple.
You guys are making
Yeah.
a huge mistake. Yeah.
Why?
What? My high school girlfriend was a fixer-upper. When I met her, she
What
had
the fuck?
braces and she was making brownies at home and it singed her hair, right? So that's when I locked her in, fucking Woody, right?
Buy low.
Buy low. 2 months later, she's like the hottest girl in my whole fucking high school, and she's my girlfriend. And it's like, yeah, you got to get a fixer-upper. Look what I did. Look what I got here on my arm.
Did you have
See,
to?
the hair grew back.
Did you neg her like the
No.
pickup artist
That
said?
was like before negging or anything.
Yeah, you look pretty tonight, you stinky pig.
Nah, someone told me she liked me, and I saw her, and I was like, that'll do. And I saw the potential.
That'll do, pig.
Dude, Jesus Christ.
That'll do, pig.
No,
Yeah, that-
I really have a
was
zero
good.
tolerance policy for BO. I don't understand it. I think that's honestly, we were talking about that white trash thing earlier. I think it's a real good indicator of that.
It's a
Like-
fixable well, okay, as an indicator, I share your concern. But like, if a girl was great in lots of ways, but she needed someone to whisper about deodorant in her ear,
Oh, that's not it. She knows.
I'll work through that.
No, this is either a girl who refuses to put it on for health reasons, or what I keep. She's one of those chicks that apparently are in every comment section of Reddit who are just like, my way or the highway. If you don't like hairy legs, then he don't like me. Pretty
Doing
good.
good.
Pretty good.
Got to see part of an eclipse, same as you, Woody.
I believe you didn't see all of the eclipse. You were like a 15-minute drive from totality,
Yeah,
and you're like, nah.
it was longer than I thought, because my grandparents live like in the thick of the totality, and my grandma, being like a sweet woman who clearly thinks I'm partially retarded, like texted me and was like, did you get those glasses? Don't look up. And I'm like, oh my God, what is Fox News saying today about people looking up at the fucking sun?
It's true. Everybody, a lot of people were.
It's absurd.
I think she
Like,
thinks highly of you and that you might be presidential material.
mhm.
I'll choose to take that interpretation as well. But
I had
yeah,
a-
it was a couple hours south, but we got like 91% here. And so it got pretty dark outside.
was
for
like 84
a good
here.
while. Yeah. And like I saw like a confused chipmunk who like started burying something and then like ran back up on top of my fence and then ran back down and searched around and ran back up. Could have been standard chipmunk behavior. I'm not that clued into
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah.
uh,
No, that was nutty. He doesn't do stuff like
he
that.
doesn't do stuff like that. He's usually very reserved. But
Industrious. He'd be over there doing his.
birds got super, super loud, and then there was no birds at all. And then they got really loud again when it came back to light. And so it was kind of neat. Sat in my sunroom and then went on my back patio, looked around.
Did you see that
like,
flock of birds I called? Like the Beastmaster on my back porch?
I didn't.
Look in
Did you-
WhatsApp. Like scroll up to yesterday. I was out there. And I had like an entire flock of birds like circling above me, like screaming.
My it was so dark where my grandparents are in totality. And so like they were like, oh yeah, it got so dark, like lamps that like nighttime lamps were like turning on in the yard, like that kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
stuff. And
It
it's
was
like, oh,
dark
that's really
there.
neat.
If people don't know, I went to totality. I'd rode my motorcycle 1,000 miles, and and I went to the Columbus, Ohio Zoo to check out the totality surrounded by monkeys and people. And it was pretty cool. It was really dark. I had never seen anything like it before. There is a big difference between
Should
totality.
have came to the Atlanta Zoo and avoided the people.
Kyle's chomping at that bit.
I was like,
Eye contact.
But it was a really good time. I've been excited to talk about this. The coolest part, it was a really good idea to go to the zoo. Not the animals. My animals didn't give a fuck. I'm surrounded by primates, and they're the laziest animals in the world, and they didn't move all day. They didn't move during the eclipse, and they didn't move afterwards. I thought they'd be like shaking the cage and going bonkers. They didn't give a fuck. They just thought it was sunset or something.
those bars were electrified.
Yeah.
However, the people made it cool because like there were a lot of kids at the zoo, and the kids were like eclipse hype men. They're like, they're just getting excited as it's coming. It's like 5 minutes away. They're like, it's just a sliver. There's only a sliver of sun left. And the other guy, I see it. The kid's like, this is amazing. And they're going, woo woo. This is the best day of my life. And it was like, me too. And then like, so this is the environment that I watched the eclipse in, and they were just so psyched. And then even the adults were like hooting and hollering, like we just scored a touchdown. And I think that my hotel was in the totalitarian. I can't say the word. Totalitarian. Totality. Thank you for the lifeline. My hotel was in the totality path, and I was going to just watch it from the courtyard, but I'm really glad I went to the zoo because I would have just been like at a picnic table by myself with the glasses seeing it. Yeah. This was a much better experience.
Fireworks is similar. If you've ever been to like a really professional fireworks show, like it's literally the same thing. I've watched them by myself and been like, fireworks, but then when there's a bunch of kids around losing their minds, that's the only time when you're okay with it too, because I don't need to hear dialogue. We're watching the movie, and like Philip Seymour Hoffman's getting out his dying words. Shut up, kids. But at the fireworks show, let's cheer it on.
Yeah. And I don't know. It was pretty cool. It was a big hype show, big motorcycle ride. It was a blast.
Yeah.
Pretty neat.
It got like 84-85% Atlanta, so nothing like what you guys
Did
saw.
It get a lot colder?
Like it. So I didn't feel like the air temperature changed because it didn't. But if you were standing in the sun, suddenly the sun wasn't warming you anymore. You know what I mean? Like the radiation heat that the sun striking you that you would feel like that turned off, and that was noticeable.
Now I wish I had a thermometer because it was my impression that the temperature dropped by like more than 10 degrees. But for you to say the air temp didn't, I'm like, oh, well, shucks. Now I'm not sure. Maybe it just was the radiant heat.
No, even where I was, like it, because I was standing outside in the sun prior to it happening. But like it was noticeably cooler. Yeah. And then, I didn't actually hang out outside until the sun came back because it's like once it starts getting lighter again, it's like, all right, I've seen the apex of this event, and now it's just kind of fading away to a normal sunny day.
I don't mean to be an asshole and act like you guys didn't see it, but that word is not real.
Totality.
The totality is just like when it's really centered and you only see the ridge of the sun around the moon, it is a different experience. That is when everyone went bonkers. The other part of the experience, it was neat to see the sun not be a full circle, but the full thing that was the main event. And then so once it got to like, it goes to 100%, and then once it was like 98% on the other side, I was done. I'm like walking back to my motorcycle, like
my grandma was telling me that she was really enjoying it, and she was telling my grandpa like, you got to get out here. It's so cool. It's so neat. It's all cool now. It looks like it's nighttime. And she's like, and I told your grandpa this, and he came out for maybe 3 seconds and said, well, ain't that something? And then he went back inside. Didn't even wait.
Grandfather's a trip.
he just didn't care. He's like, whatever. Like, I've been doing my thing.
You know how many eclipses I've seen, boy?
Dude,
not a lot, I bet.
Oh, come on.
Unless Missouri has historically been just this apex of eclipse activity, which is only
one
the
of the
best
reasons I put all that effort into it was how rare this is. There's another one coming into America in 2033, but that's Alaska, so that's not very easy. And then the next one's 2043, and I legit might be dead by then. Like,
you'll be taken.
I'll be in my early 70s. I'll probably be alive, but it is like my health insurance will be pretty expensive by the next eclipse.
Yeah.
Like, that's for sure.
You won't be riding your motorcycle 1,000 miles to see it.
Yeah,
It'll be a hover cycle.
And then I forget. Jackie told me when it's coming to North Carolina, but I will be very dead. I'll be like 50 years dead.
Yeah, I was looking at that timeline as well, and it was like, I was like, oh, there's one through Georgia, and I like was looking at the paths before I was looking at the dates. It's like, oh, Georgia, right through Kyle's neck of the woods, and 2078.
Ooh,
we'll all be dead. Like that's
50 years. Yeah, you and Kyle have an outside shot.
55 years. There is no way.
See, well, all right. So
what are you currently? 32.
It might be hard
32.
to get to 88 now or whatever. But if you think about it, it might not be that hard to get to 88 in 30 years.
I've been sitting on a bit for about a month. I'm not sure it's good enough, but there's only 10 minutes left. This is a spelling bee for just Taylor.
Oh no.
That has hard words, but they're not over the top super hard that Taylor can't spell. Are you
do it for me and Kyle?
All right.
I'll bite.
You'll bite? Okay.
Yeah, I'll play.
I have the words in front of me. For the record, I could probably spell 15% of these. I'm not trying to.
Oh, fuck, I'm not going to get them.
Pretend I'm. No, you're going to do. I think you can spell these. So I'm going to pick one that's hardish, but not over the top. Liaison.
Liazon.
Laison.
All right, that one was too hard. Liaison.
Oh fuck.
All right, epitome.
Epitome.
Kyle, what's your guess?
Epitome.
You both got it. Okay.
Because it's epitome. That's how I remember that one. It's a little embarrassing, but I just remember epitome.
That's how I read it.
You remember liaison.
Don't get me started on freaking.
You need to remember liaison.
Liaison. Yeah, true. I got it wrong.
Necessary.
Necessarry. It's like double all the way, right?
Necessary. It's only one C and two S's.
Taylor's right.
Oh, you're right. Wait,
this
I thought
one
it was two C's. Okay,
narcissistic.
Narcissistic.
Kyle, what do you think?
NARCIS. Narciss. I'm at the S. IS. Narcissus. TIC.
You're so Taylor got it. Kyle missed double S in the middle.
Oh, yeah. It's also kind of hard not writing it down.
It is. I'm trying to do like the I need to do the palm thing.
That's what I'm doing. Like I'm like syllabling it through it.
It's tough. I'd say type it, but then it'd be really hard to distinguish that.
Yeah,
I'd have to complete.
Type it here and just
I missed one yet.
It would be entered into nothing. Just typing.
Some of these words are too easy. Like 8. I can spell 8.
Like ATE.
Oh, that's the other one.
Oh, I got it wrong. Fuck.
Taylor fucked it up. Oh, here's one I mess up. Lightning.
LIGHTNING. Oh, you probably do lightening.
I do.
Yeah.
That's a different word.
Yep.
Well,
like skin lightening treatment.
Indict.
INDICT.
Yeah.
Yeah. Taylor can spell everything but liaison, it appears.
Fuck. Zach, remove liaison from the show.
Use the AI to fix that.
You're a pretty good speller as well, Kyle.
I don't know about that. If I'm writing, I'm okay. But sometimes I'll say a word over and over and it stops becoming a word.
Yes.
Sometimes that'll happen to me with like normal words, and I'm like, fucking mine.
Yeah.
So, like I feel like I'm from a different. Like it's like did I come from another universe where that wasn't the word for me, for my things?
I'll do that when I'm really high. I'll be like playing AoE and like the victory standards like conquest. I'm like conquest. What even is a conquest?
It's simple, and I always get it right, but it's I process every time I use it. Because
Mm.
apostrophe means it is when
Mhm.
you'd think it would mean plural, and you just got to get it
It's
right.
like, it shouldn't, but it really bothers me when people use the wrong there.
Yeah.
Whether it's the possessive
Because
one.
it's very easy. Like it's not hard.
so easy, and look, people be like, who cares? You are the same people who care what color text messages come in at. So let me just say, from someone, when I see you use the wrong there, I immediately think like, ooh, okay. We'll see if they repeat this pattern or if it was a typo.
Mhm.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. Because I know the right there. That's not a good example because I think I almost never fuck that one up. But there are words I'll mess up. I'll use the wrong your every once in a blue moon, and it doesn't mean I don't know it. It just mistakes happen.
Yeah.
No, I'm perfect. I don't make mistakes like that.
It must be nice.
I'm on a good run with there.
Oh, it's terrible. Everyone hates it.
You know what I'm good at? I use an apostrophe after the S when the word ends with S, but it's plural or possessive. Like I'll put
Yeah.
the
Of course.
no
Oh,
one
here's-
does that.
Here's the spell. This is one that sometimes slips people up. There's a great Patrice O'Neill bit about
Okay.
it where
It's a
he's like,
restaurant.
it's a restaurant where he's like, if someone came to me and they had a gun to my mom's head and they were like, hey, spell restaurant, I'd be looking in my mom's eyes and I'd be saying, I love you. I love you with my whole heart. With every bit of me, I love you.
Dude.
R-E-S-T, ah-ooh.
Yeah. Let me just say, I think it's rest, R-E-S-T, and then A-U-R-A-N-T. I think it's rest, ow, rant. Right?
Yes.
I'm gonna type it.
And the worst part is every episode of Seinfeld, they go to
You
that
get it?
and then yeah, that's right. Every episode of Seinfeld, they like shows the word restaurant because they're outside one. And then it'll flick away from it. And I'll be like, wait, I still don't know how to spell it. I used to do that all the time until I sat down and was like, rest, ow, rant. I almost had to make a fucking like what do you call the to help you remember like the planets and stuff like that. What do you call those?
Oh, where you have to make like a
Acronym?
Mnemonic device, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
mnemonic
Isn't it a
device?
mnemonic device? Like my excellent mother sat under new pines. Do you know that one? Do you know Roy G. Biv?
I remember
Any of this
Roy
ringing a
G.
bell?
Biv. I don't remember the Pines one.
It's the planets. It's the order of the planets. Mars. My excellent mother just sat
Well, of
under
0
new
for 1
pines.
on the planets.
Every good boy deserves
It's
blood.
definitely Mercury.
Anybody? Fool.
drinks
He
it
has a
again.
good song.
He had a
What is
Bud
it
Light in his
called?
hand when he
Summertime?
said the words I just said.
I bet he did.
I
Stands-
literally
stands for
did.
nothing.
What did he have?
A Bud Light in his hand. He was on Rogan. They're like they both had tons of Bud Light. I get it like
They're
like
Bud
drinking-
positive again now?
Well, I don't think I don't.
I don't
yeah.
know. I
Yeah.
know I saw Kid Rock doing something with Bud Light, like a sponsorship.
Oh,
Right?
for sure. I don't know if it's
Oh.
sponsored, but you would imagine that you don't get Joe Rogan and Kid Rock to sit there and have their podcast surrounded by cans of Bud Light while drinking Bud Light, unless it's sponsored. But maybe so. Maybe it's a big inside joke. And
I know
I'm
Bud
just,
Light's with the UFC.
Oh, well then there you go.
Can you find a
Well, is
picture of
that
it, Zach?
enough?
Because
Would Joe Rogan
Yeah,
do it on this podcast?
that
just
seems
'cause
like
they
enough.
bought the UFC.
Like, I would wager so, but I don't know. I know
I
that
said
like
Foster's
Shane
is sponsored.
Gillis, he likes Bud Light, and so
Yeah.
if he's on Joe Rogan, like why would Joe not get Bud Light for him? Not that like fucking Bud Light's different than really Miller Lite.
maybe I saw an AI photograph, but the one I saw was them surrounded by cans of Bud Light in almost a comical fashion.
I
Zach,
saw a
can you
clip
find it?
of Shane Gillis, and they were like drinking on the show,
I meant Kid
and
Rock.
there were a lot of
That
cans.
might have been AI because I saw him talking about bomb, and I didn't see any Bud Light, but I'm not
Oh.
sure enough to say you're wrong.
Yeah, I could be
could
misremembering
wrong.
it, but that's definitely what the mental image I have is. I'm just wondering why they're drinking that shitty ass beer. It's
Oh,
just
they must
such
they
shitty
must
beer.
have been doing a drinking contest.
So that's Shane.
Dude, there's
and
nothing wrong with
Ari.
light beer.
No one said there's something wrong with light beer. I
Yeah.
only drink light beer.
I think it's
I
the
don't like
backtracking
Bud
that
Light.
we're talking about.
Oh no, I just think it's a
I-
shitty beer. Just
I thought
Bud
he was
Light
talking
in
about-
particular. It is.
Oh,
a
I think
worse
I'm
light
wrong.
beer.
It's no
Kyle just
worse
hasn't
than
used
Coors Light,
Light.
Michelob Light, any other light beer.
It is-
Bud
it
Light
is
is
like-
the worst.
the one that is the worst is Coors Light. There's
I'm
something
halfway with
something
both of you.
weird about
The
That's
Coors Light.
problem
Colorado
is
Kool-Aid right there. I enjoy
They
it.
all taste like beer,
Mm.
and that's
Yeah.
bad.
But if you got to drink one, Miller Lite is less calories than Bud Light.
Okay.
And so pretty easy decision there. And they really do all taste the same, except there's something weird about, maybe I have a bad memory of Coors Light, but I feel like the last time I had it, I was like, there's like a weird aftertaste here.
Nah, there's a good song about Coors Light. They call it Colorado Kool-Aid. And he's talking about how his Mexican friend had a switchblade and he cut this guy's ear off. It's great.
Well, you
story.
like the Mexican beers anyway.
I learned that fact, and it was just like, man, because I did my genealogy the other day, and I found out that I was 0.06% sub-Saharan African, my brothers, and I wanted to learn more about the injustices that my people had suffered.
That's fair.
So and I'm going to tell you right now, I'd never supported reparations until I read that report that in my Gmail the other day, and now full-throatedly just.
It would seem like you'd have to pay out like 99.4% and receive the 0.6.
That's an absurd viewpoint, Woody, and I can only expect a white man to take such a viewpoint. This idea of like of dilly-dally, of divvying up someone's life. What percentage of you is black? What percentage of you is white? You're just so obsessed with race as a white.
You can't stop talking about it.
Can't stop talking about it.
Just obsessed with it, and I don't care for it one bit.
No, I've also been looking at the swords. I did enough research that I found like the good
would
sword
you please
website.
get a sword or two?
Be a sword guy, man.
Kyle,
Lean
I think
in.
you're taking too long to buy a sword as if you're limiting yourself to just one. Narrow it down to 2 or 3.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, I'm afraid I'm going to hurt myself with the sword because I know I'm going to like play with it. The website I was looking at has swords that are meant for like competition chopping, like cutting through that whatever that media is, like bamboo or whatever the fuck they do. And it's like this
Water
sword
bottles.
it's like a real deal. No, they do a thing. I know I've seen the Japanese guys do where they've got.
Oh yeah, they have like it's like a slanted.
It's like rolled up fucking bamboo or reeds or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, they've got like a target and like a perfect. They show that if you're not good with a katana, you can't chop through all of that shit. But if you're really good with it in one slash, you can.
I want to see that, and I want to experience it because I have seen the same sort of things you have, right? Which is like, look at this katana master; he can swing a sword. Look at this idiot, and it's like a fully athletic guy who doesn't do as well. And I'm like, what is the trick? Do you need to like slice instead of chop? Maybe add a little forward to aft movement on the sword.
Got to be technique because
and angle.
There's clips of
Because if the blade isn't like perfectly aligned and at the way you're
Blade
like
angle.
slicing, if you twist the blade even slightly, then you lose all of that.
Imagine cutting a tomato with a non-serrated edge, right? If you just pressed straight down on it, you might smush it. But if you gave it a little slide while you cut it, that tomato would slice.
Yeah.
And I think there might be something there in swordplay too.
They're like pulling as they're slicing. Because it's definitely technique because there are YouTube videos of guys doing that to like 7 of those reed bundles.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call a bundle of sticks?
The Tawny mat.
And then they cut through them all, and they're just using a knife, and yet they're doing like 8 of them in a row.
Yep.
So,
Dude,
really a
the
technique
knife
thing.
competitions are amongst my favorite. Like sometimes they're a little bit like cleavers, and so the first they like slice tomatoes paper thin, then they cut a rope, then they cut a brick, then maybe slice some more tomatoes, and you're like, God damn, that's a good knife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, become a sword guy, man, and you're not going to hurt yourself. Like, just don't be dumb, and you won't hurt yourself.
And if you do, you have 2 eyes already. How many you need? Greedy.
I'm not worried about my eyes. I'm worried about
What
like
activity are you
swinging.
gonna do?
I'm worried about over swinging and like slicing my femoral artery and bleeding out before I can even get to my phone.
Dude, if I was staying over at your house and like I woke up late morning and I walk out and you're dead from like a sword accident, I am hiding your body. I'm making up a story for you. This is because I care about you. I would not let your legacy be that you killed yourself with a sword in your yard. I'd frame someone. I would do something to preserve
Say it was a duel. Say it was
You're such a good friend. I'm
over
printing
honor.
out his browser history and tweeting.
No, I'm like,
That was
man, I'm not
fighting a
going
duel
to
for-
solve this on an empty stomach. Let's go in the kitchen.
Well, you have a sandwich first.
Have a little sandwich, play with
Yeah,
Rocky.
say I was dueling someone over honor.
Yeah. It's something like that. Hide your body, because I wouldn't let that be your legacy.
Yeah.
Just keep the dogs in the house. If you keep the dogs in the house, there's no way you accidentally cut yourself gruesomely with a sword.
How so?
Well, like what? Tell me the kind of moves you're imagining, like doing.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I've got some sort of target set up and I go to hit it, but I've never swung a fucking sword before, and I like lose my balance a little and like swing all the way through and hit myself in the knee or the fucking foot or the shin or something like that. But I didn't hit myself with a stick or like an axe that'll, you know, if you've ever been chopping wood, sometimes you bump yourself and it'll bounce off.
And it can slice a couple tendons on the top of your foot. I'm just saying that can happen.
Yeah.
It's a pretty traumatic experience sometimes.
but unfortunately, I've got like a competition slicing falchion.
Yeah. But you also played baseball.
Century.
Like
What
you
is a
played baseball, you have
falchion?
some coordination.
Is that a type of sword?
Yeah. But so yeah, I'm a little worried about that. But
Is
I
it
do want the sword.
Falchion?
I'm almost positive that it is that. Yes.
It was. God, Taylor, you fucking suck.
Oh,
This looks like a pirate sword.
Yar.
Yar. Yar, it would be.
Yar.
No, I wouldn't. If you're going to lean in, don't start with like a pirate sword. Start with like a. What's the most basic kind of sword you can think
Well,
of?
it would be
Just
the
like a knight
gladius
sword.
So I also thought that it would be smart to get a sword that makes a good accessory to a Halloween costume. Because like maybe I could be a Roman soldier one year, and looky there, Kyle's got a Roman gladius, and the thing would be, you could walk anywhere you want wearing a real gladius, and nobody would say boo because it's Halloween.
Yeah, that's okay. Then gladius is clearly the right move.
A good gladius is like $250 to $350.
I say that's a reasonable price. I mean, granted,
so,
I've never
too.
looked at the market for swords outside of
Well,
a couple minutes.
Gladius it is. I'll get
Gladius.
that thing ordered up.
Get it with like a jewel on the pommel, like something. So I don't know, something cool looking on it. That would be neat. Like this one. This one has a little eagle or something down there at the bottom, on like a crest, kind of.
Get a little amber
Aquila?
jewel with a bug in it.
Yeah, is that an Aquila?
Aguila? I know
Aguila?
it's a Q, but I think you pronounce it the G.
You might be right.
Aguila? I always
Either
think
way, get a fucking sword.
this is the site I would use. It's
I got a little lost. Is an Aguila the name of the picture on that circle or the circle?
it's just that wrong. It's just that eagle that's facing one
okay.
direction. That's an Aguila.
Yeah,
I think it's G, but it could be Q. I know it's spelled with a Q, but I think it's pronounced with a G. Could be wrong. This is the website that I've been recommended to get like a real deal sword. They also have armor and shields and LARPing weapons and gear. So
you can get war hammers.
Yeah, Kyle, I feel like you're half-assing this with no armor whatsoever.
you're right. You're right. Dude, that guy's looking kind of hard over there in that armor. Look at him.
We have a whole subsection for Asian pole arms. Are you a competent good swimmer, Kyle?
No, I can keep myself alive. I don't think I would drown unless the waters were like pretty choppy. But if it got anything more than that, I would go down. I think that I can. Not a good swimmer.
So you don't know like the strokes. You couldn't do
I know
breaststroke,
them.
freestyle, backstroke.
Knowing them and doing them is another thing. Doing them well is another thing. It's just I know them, but I'm not a good swimmer now.
Okay, I part of me still thinks when I hear like an adult say like I don't know how to swim, part of me is like just get in the water and it'll just happen, like just intuitively like move in the water, and then Woody as a lifeguard is like no, obviously not. You fucking retard,
I
they'll
tell people
drown.
to swim. It's not natural for humans at all.
It seems so easy. Maybe it's because I did swim lessons as a kid.
It's
But-
bizarre that they don't just get horizontal. They're sort of bobbing up and down and sort of like trying to pull themselves
Try to,
out.
like,
And
grasp at it with wide fingers.
it's weird watching someone drown like that. I think I saw a news story where like a kid fell in a pool and two adults drowned trying to save the kid in the pool.
What?
That's what the fuck. No one was paying attention.
Recently.
How big was this pool? No
I
one.
wish I was there. That would be like no big deal. Saving a child from a
Triple
swimming
kill.
pool. This
Yeah.
is like
Yeah, you'd have to save the two adults who went in
that's
after.
not hard either. Like it's
Woody could have his nachos in his other hand while he's doing this.
I really do think if you're like Woody, save all three of them, hold a brick in one hand, I'd be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I could save him. I think I could get the kid out of there, but I'm not going in for an adult anyway.
Yeah, it's against your principles. Should have learned to swim.
Not for it better be hot adult.
Sink or
Right
swim,
now. If it's not, if it's some like fat dude that fell in, is like
right. But if he's hot, you're there.
Yeah, if like John Stamos fell in,
I'm glad you went with.
He cracks his head on the fucking on the step on the way in. I'm like, holy shit, that's the guy from Full House. Gotta get him out of there. Yeah.
Did you guys have when you would swim in pools or whatever as a kid? Obviously, there were those pictures of the people breaking their neck from diving.
Oh yeah.
Was there I never knew anyone who that happened to, and I'm realizing now I think adults might have been fibbing to me about like local kids getting paralyzed from it. There's what do you would know is that's not super common, right? Like,
not that I know of. But
you mean diving in, hitting like into a shallow?
I feel like hitting the bottom and getting a scrape is super common. Hitting the bottom and getting a neck injury, I've never seen it.
Yeah, that was like a mythos, like a tooth fairy level thing. Like when I'd go swimming, like parents would like, "Don't you dive in there." Remember what happened to little Timmy Smith up the road? And it's like, Timmy Smith, I never heard of him. And they're like, and you never will again. Because he's paralyzed giving motivational speeches in Australia.
Every swimmer is a competitive swimmer who's dove into a pool 1,000, 2,000, 6,000 times has hit their face on the bottom at one point. I had a teammate. He was really good. He was all American. And he would always do this thing at the start of every practice where he jumped up abnormally high and then he went straight down. And the water was like 3.5 feet deep. And he was always fine.
It's just trying to loosen himself up.
I think he was showing off. It was a thing that he was good at. And if you looked at it, you'd be like, that has to be dangerous, right? Everyone jumped in the shallow end, but we would take a shallow dive.
Yeah.
This guy went straight down like a pencil. And then underwater, he would just curve it up and save it.
I'm going to swim more this summer. That sounds fun.
My pool opens tomorrow. Well, kind of. It takes a while for the water to get clean, but tomorrow the guys come in.
A lot of kids would jump off into the rock quarries when I was a kid. There's lots of, especially in Elberton, Georgia, there's just tons of these quarries. And basically it's a square hole underneath the dirt. Surprise, surprise. And you're just on top of a giant cap of granite that encompasses the entire county. So you can cut square holes into the ground that is just rock. It's just rock down there, just solid and deep. So...
super deep, right? Like too deep for a human to touch, maybe?
What do you mean touch?
Like if you tried to swim to the bottom and come back with a rock.
Oh, who even fucking knows? Because what they'll do is they're mining essentially in these quarries, and the sides of the quarry have these square holes, and it's a huge hole in the ground, and then it's full of water. I went to a place that there's a skeet shooting place, sporting clay place in Elberton, where they utilize rock quarries. So they'll throw the skeet out over the rock quarries and you'll shoot them out there. And it's cool because the shot will hit the opposite side and you can see it hit the rock. And because the skeet always hits the rock in the same place. So it's just stained the rock orange because about millions of them have fucking hit that rock. But the bottom is God knows. You don't know. Maybe it's 50, 60, 70, 150. You don't know. So they would, kids around here have always set up these giant rope swings and cable pulley swings. So they'd sometimes utilize some of the leftover cranes and stuff like that. And I remember my dad growing up told a story about his brother-in-law was standing there while people were doing the swing. And the way it worked, you swung out, you let go, do a flip, land in the water.
Oh yeah.
And then there's a string tied to the cable. You swing out on a cable, but there's a string tied to the cable so we can retrieve the cable so the next person can go. Well, my dad's brother-in-law is literally just an idiot, like probably special. And he's standing like a cartoon character in the coil of rope. Like, we're here to do the thing. Like, don't imagine that he's like having a beer by a campfire way over there. We're all here on a ledge.
He's standing like Wile E. Coyote on the edge of the cliff.
He is Wile E. Coyoteing, standing in the Elmer Fudd, and so the next person goes and it's brick mason cord. If you're not familiar with this, very strong, very thin string. It's like super fishing line maybe, but it is string, nylon. Wraps around his foot, drags him out upside down over the fucking quarry while the other person is swinging along too, and he dangles as the thing slices and cuts through his fucking foot in like 8 different places. And they're so poor back then. Dad's like, Grandmama was putting tomatoes and potatoes and roots and poultices, and they was spitting tobacco juice on it.
Pissing.
Like,
wouldn't you know it got real infected?
That's what I was like, did that worked? He's like, near about fell off. Thought he was going to lose a goddamn foot.
About plumb fell off.
About plumb fell off.
Oh, that's so funny. Dude, my grandpa and your dad would just thick as thieves. They would get along so well. The way you say he phrases and talks about things, it's a country farmer Southern thing. They have that archetype.
Dad's watched too many Coen Brothers movies, so he likes that old timey, silly, like I don't know, dialogue. So he's silly the way he does that stuff. He loves "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" and what's the other one? When Nicholas
Buster Scrub.
Raising Arizona. If you've never seen Raising Arizona, not you, Taylor.
I would bet my life my grandpa hasn't seen any of those movies. This is just the way he talks. Yeah. Damn. So did you ever leap into the quarry?
Fuck no. Because
Never.
No, I don't think I was ever invited, if I'm being 100% honest. But I also remember my cousin saying that I swear this happened. He dreamt, my dad told him, he's like, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. That's dangerous. You know, when I was growing up, kids would get hurt, and your Uncle Porty fucking like nearly lost his foot one time.
Your Uncle Lefty.
Doing that shit. Yeah, Uncle.
Lost an arm.
And so Scott said he had a dream that he drowned. Like they'd been going every weekend and spending the whole weekend up there jumping, like doing backflips and shit. But he dreamt that he drowned, so he didn't go. And the day he didn't go, his buddy drowned. Like Buddy jumps in, hits something under the water, and didn't come up. Like, died.
The Reaper needed a soul. It would have been him.
But I don't know. Maybe that's the scary
maybe
part.
His friend would have died if he was there for him.
Oh, that's what I said. That's what
I
I said at the funeral too. I hated that. They hated
eulogy.
It's could have been prevented.
Here lies Travis. It's Scott's fault.
Yeah.
He always called Scott his guardian angel.
the one day he wasn't there.
I've done not a quarry jump, but I've done stuff like that in the Ozarks, like off the rocky outcrops over it, especially with the ropes. And sometimes you'll be doing it like if you drive through the Ozarks, there will be like the local spots that you're passing on the way to like where the people who live in Kansas City or St. Louis or whatever go and swim. And they will be like the oldest, ricketiest ropes as these like locals are swinging out. And some of them are like fat as shit swinging out over this, and the rope holds. And so that but you see that and you're like, that's a matter of time. Someone's going to, there's a bunch of jagged rocks that if you were to fall 15 feet, prematurely in your swing, you're going to break your legs or break
I think
your
that
neck.
an athletic person can fall just much better. Like I think that if
that's true. And a lot of these people are drunk, and I think you're better at falling if you're drunk.
Oh.
I think you're better at having a car accident if you're drunk. But I think that if
they're
you
outstanding at it, they get most of them.
Yeah,
Running up the score.
Just loosey goosey. They're not posting up on that wheel. But I think if you're gonna like fall down an embankment, you want to have your wits about you so you can maybe, not snap your knees backwards or like post up like I said. And
yeah, maybe.
Kyle's
I guess I just heard someone
So
say
I
that
do a lot of
about
sports
falling.
where people fall, whether it be paramotoring, paragliding, acrobatic paragliding, or motorcycling. People fall, dirt biking, and there is a giant correlation between how athletic they are and how often they get hurt. Like the athletes, they just bounce better, man. Part of it's because they're lighter. They just, if you weigh 150, falling's not as big a deal as if you weigh 250. Boom.
Oh yeah.
But also, I don't know, like muscles help a little bit, and just being fit and athletic.
Yeah, your tendons and the connective tissues are all like tougher, stronger, better if you're working out.
Maybe you're making good, fast decisions during the fall too.
Yeah.
That somebody else isn't. I'm not sure.
You can see that it's like with ice skating. Like there were times where like for school events or whatever, we'd all go ice skating or something, and someone who knows what they're doing, like they fall and they like they know to like try and land on their hip, their quad, like take some of the pressure off in the soft area. Don't stick your hand out like this and break your wrist like an idiot. And then sometimes you'd see someone fall who clearly had never skated before, and they do like a Three Stooges, like whoop whoop whoop, where their feet start coming out and they just tumble backwards, hit their head, and it's like, oh, that could have been catastrophic. We could have watched that woman die right just now in the middle of our field trip and not gotten to go to the taco or the hot dog stand.
Motorcycle parallels on that. Like I watch these people who are very good at YouTube, and there's 2 motorcycle disciplines called hard enduro and trials, and both of them are real slow speed things where they're climbing on like, I don't know, sewage pipes that are 6 feet tall, rocks that are 4 feet tall, the sort of thing where you're doing a wheelie stationary and then you like hop onto the next rock, if you can imagine.
Acrobatic. Yeah, like Trials the game, the video game back then.
So these guys do that, and when they fall, it's amazing to me because they manage to do it. Like they see the fall coming, they decide that it's time to bail, and then they let themselves and their motorcycles down, and nothing's damaged. Meanwhile, like I'll be on like a trail where to the right, if I fall, it's 3 feet lower, and to the left, if it's 3 feet higher, and I'm just the closest I can come is try to fall to the high side. Like let's err on the high side, because if I fall with a 3 feet drop, I'm kind of fucked. I'm not that good at it. Like I'll look like a non-athlete when I fall to the low side. And other people are just amazing.
Have you ever played sports with someone who's like direly unathletic?
Yes.
It's kind
I
of
hate
funny.
it. Oh, I've told this story before. In college, I got thrown out of the dorms, and I had to like quick scurry, and I got this. This woman was renting out extra bedrooms to help her pay rent. Well, one of the other persons who rented a different bedroom, wild loser, like crazy social anxiety. He would have like, he got like straight A's, but he was always trying to kill himself, and he had no friends, and he couldn't exist in like any crowds. Yeah. Committing suicide was like a twice a week thing for him. And
he really sucked at it.
He was terrible at everything except for school, which I envied. But anyway, I was like, this poor guy, like he doesn't have any friends. I'm going to play Frisbee with him. Huge fucking mistake, right? Like I throw the Frisbee at him, practically hit him in the fucking nose, and he doesn't catch it. Okay, whatever. He picks it up. He throws it to me. He's off by 90 degrees. And I'm like, am I supposed to get that? Like I'm closer to it? It's closer to you. Yeah. You don't get that. Like, but no, I didn't. I ran and I got it, and I threw it from there. And I'm just like running to wherever he's randomly throwing this thing. He's like, you are not athletic enough to be my friend. I'm failing.
This fucking loser. He's this idiot. Maybe he got better at tying knots, and he's out of here.
His suicide attempts. Like I know I've told some of these stories before, but like one time he took pills, and like, so I like call 911. We get the EMTs there. He calls his mom, and he's like, "Mom, I've done it. It's over now. I'm going to die. I just wanted to call you and say goodbye." And it's like, Jesus Christ, you're going to be fine. And he was. There was another time I just heard banging from his room. And he had this little plastic first aid kit that he was banging on a mirror. And he later told me that he was hoping the mirror would break and slice his jugular.
What?
This is This is not a valid suicide attempt.
Yeah, this guy was seeking attention in all the wrong ways. He should have tried being better at sports. Loser.
He was in a lot of pain.
What race was he?
He's a white guy. Ugly white guy, but thin.
Ugly too.
yeah, he was.
Just irredeemable. Fucking loser. Couldn't tie knots. Couldn't find hated elevators. Just couldn't get to the top of a building to save his life.
Like there was a kid on our base.
Okay.
I was trying to think of like the most unathletic person I've ever played sports with. And it was this kid in Little League, and he was just slow. Like not witted. He's a perfectly intelligent person, but it just seemed like he was slow. Like in everything he did. It was like he moved at 0.8 speed. Sort of like if you said, "Hey Bob," that's not his name. But he went, "Hey Bob," he'd go, "What?" He was just so slow to react, and it was why was Bob on third base? I can't tell you, but I remember Dad like that. It's practice, and Dad's hitting. He's got an aluminum baseball bat in one hand, and he's tossing up a ball, and he's hitting it to people to make them
baseball
feel
or t-ball.
baseball.
Oh, okay.
We're like 13. We can throw kind of parodying something, but she's also a nut. She's definitely crazy.
Clearly, I bet she was abused 6 ways from Sunday as a young starlet. Because they tend to do that. They tend to, yeah.
What's up with that? Why do they do that? Why did they do that?
And they
long
they can get away with it.
Are we questioning why someone would sexually abuse a young Britney Spears?
It's because they were horny and they knew they could get away with it.
Just got here.
I mean, I still remember like going to that Taco Bell and they had her poster with her big titties, and my dad going, "Wow," and my mom going, "She's 16, Lamar." And it's like, I don't know, she's 5'8" with giant titties poking at me at Taco Bell. I didn't know she was a child.
Classic Lamar. He's a rapscallion, that guy. You can't stop him.
At the peak of her career, Britney Spears went on CNN and they asked for her opinion on the Iraq war, which was raging at the time. And she's like, I don't know. I'm 17 and I sing "Oops, I Did It Again." I have no idea. It was funny.
I think it's bad.
Good. I don't know.
Don't like it. I do like it. I'm getting a nod from my
Well
publisher.
done, the S yes. Want to get air superiority over the Gulf. I'm going to tell you right now, the Fifth Fleet has moved in, and they are wreaking havoc with Iraqi air support. Like, what if she had a technical explanation? That would be beautiful.
That would be so funny. Oh my God.
Well, I don't think that we understand the complex geopolitics involved in these different groups.
Well, you've got this with the Sunnis and the Shiites. Iran is just going to eat our lunch on this one, Mike. We're going to throw $1 trillion away. We're going to lose influence and favor in the region. It's going to be a quagmire.
Factory farming?
I mean, factory farming is reprehensible. Like
that's not just us, though.
Oh, I'm sorry. You don't want any ribs?
I want the ribs.
Yeah, damn, Taylor, why'd you
Are you going to check the no ribs for Taylor box?
No, I'm planning on cooking ribs this very weekend.
Don't disparage an entire industry, okay? Don't spit in the eye.
I'm going to make one rack that's sweet and one rack that's vinegary, ideally.
Yeah, that's right. And you can have many racks you want. There's a farmer out there. They're keeping those pigs in a dark building.
Cave
piled
pigs
in next to each other. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know. What else? Yeah, I guess we really don't torture animals for fun. We have that.
We
over
must
the
do something that
games.
Other countries consider cruel and dumb.
Yeah. What do we do? Are we just the best, or?
That's a distinct possibility.
I think they look down on our school shootings as if that's part of our culture.
They look down. They look down on our school.
They're very judgy about it.
Nobody likes that.
True.
No one sees that and is like,
no one enjoys
American culture.
What's with school shootings though? Like especially if you're like an adult going there. Like Sandy Hook, I think was that situation. That Uvalde, I'm not sure about that one. But like if you go and Columbine it, where you're shooting your classmates, it's horrible. But at least understand that this maybe was pent up frustrations or something. If you're an adult and you just go to an elementary school like Sandy Hook, what is the motivation? Why are we mad at the kids?
Usually they have manifestos. And when someone has a manifesto, like already I'm like, this person's probably a fook.
Catching strays.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't like that take either.
About being crazy?
About manifestos. I have some writings.
Everyone has some tomes, some writings. I
just wanted to jot a few things down. That's
some
all.
scrolls, dude.
I just have some ideas on how things can be better.
All of a sudden, it has a
sometimes you read a manifesto and you go, "This Ted has some points."
Yeah, Taylor's the kind of fool who doesn't know anything about the color of sound.
That's true. I don't know anything about the magnetic resonance frequency of carbon. Or whatever.
Wait till you hear about it.
I haven't listened to a Rogan in forever, but I think I'm gonna tune into that one. Sounds fun.
Terrence Howard,
But he sounds like he's mentally ill. It's what it actually seems like. Like
if he's right, he's gonna change the world.
Well, he's not though. He's mentally ill. Like you could say that about tons of. You ever see like the scribblings of a schizophrenic? Sometimes it'll be like, oh, I'm not qualified to tell if this makes sense or not. Like there'll be a lot of geometry and a lot of equations. Maybe there'll be some physics equations, and then there's like scribbled out, "This is it. This is the solution," in big circles,
Uh-huh.
and you're like, "All right,
I think I made this joke already, but like if I like ever was like I was going out in a blaze of glory, like I'm not smart enough to have a manifesto like that, and so it would just be reams of paper of like simple math. It'd be like 5 plus 7 minus 4 times 3 divided by 2, add 6. It's just, and they're like, this
You
guy,
got some
my
order of
God.
operations stuff in there. Slow your roll, baby.
Like not even division.
not
right at the top, right at the top, E equals MC squared, big circle around it."
Yeah,
But like I like have like bits scratched off.
that's funny.
It's just carbon plus nitrogen equals carnitrogen.
Carnitrogen. It's what killed the
Yeah.
dinosaurs.
What if the
Yeah,
sun isn't real? What if it's
The problem when a celebrity goes mentally ill is because their whole thing is being in the public eye and being entertaining or whatever. Nobody rushes in to help them because it's like, hey, this is working. This is working. This
Yeah.
new thing. Y'all getting a lot of buzz, and they're like, buzz, buzz, buzz. Woo! And it's
Yeah.
like, you're out of your mind.
I'm not going to
Keep it
say
up.
who's creating the buzz. It's Jewish people.
Yeah, it's because with Britney Spears, you're seeing it again. You're seeing her. They gave her money back. They ended that conservatorship that she was under.
About guns and hunting and such before the show. I've wondered, Kyle. He brought up hunting. Is there a world where you save money hunting? Like I can tell you,
Oh
fishing,
yeah,
it's pretty
100%.
unlikely. I think the most expensive fish you'll ever eat are the ones you've caught. By and
I disagree on that part too. I think
Okay.
look, it's about how you go about doing either thing. So you can go and get a what's it called, a Zebco 303 or whatever at the gas station, the cheapest rod they make, a $25 rod, and just some basic, and you could go feed yourself. Now if you go get a bass boat and
Mhm.
15 rod, I know I have friends who competitively bass fish throughout childhood and into adulthood. And it's, oh my God, it's $50,000 this and a $38,000 that. And I'm going to need 20 different rods, each geared up for specific scenarios. They don't bring one rod and change tackle. They got
5 digits?
50
That's adorable. They should get into offshore stuff.
Each thing is, like, and it's, but if you are subsistence fishing, like,
Mhm.
you just need a rod, right? And tackle and stuff. And so
I guess
subsistence
if you're in the
hunting-
right place, like a net, probably. Like I think that's if you're a villager off Hawaii or something, you probably fish with a net? Question mark.
I made fish traps as a kid. See, with all you need is like string and chicken wire, and you sort of make this cylinder out of chicken wire, and one end's capped off, and the other's a funnel turned in. So you can imagine with the funnel turned in, it ends with the pokey chicken wire ends sort of
Part of
meshed
it-
together.
I guess is the travel too. Like if you live where the fish are, if you're on the edge of the
Yeah.
ocean or someplace with good fishing, that's one thing. But like if you're a fly fisherman, I doubt you're saving money with those trout you bring back.
Yeah, I mean, if you're subsistence hunting or
a
fishing,
flight to Alaska alone wiped out any profit I would have
Yeah.
made.
like the only people who would subsistence hunt or fish are people who are near that stuff. Like I personally know multiple people who get like 2 or 3 deer every season, and then the vast majority of the meat they're eating just like week to week is deer throughout the year. Like they get so much that they're like giving it away to people. So like
So I
maybe
don't
that's
have
a
frame
Midwest
of
thing.
reference for what deer's worth and what they spent getting it. Because I imagine I'm not a hunter. I do have a license to kill, but I haven't actually done it yet. I could spend a lot. I could spend a lot getting the full costume, the expensive rifle, and the scope that would let me shoot from 3 miles away unnecessarily, most likely. I can just imagine all the potions I put on myself to smell like a deer in heat. I don't know. But you could probably do it cheaper and make a profit.
When you're like I always just assume
again, with the-
deer are everywhere like they are here in the Midwest. I'm sure in Georgia it's like
Everywhere.
that. In North Carolina it's probably like that.
Locusts.
Like you don't need $10,000 worth of equipment. Like the people I know who do this,
$200.
the cost of it is a box of bullets and like the same gun they've been using for a decade.
You,
And
go
they
get the-
just-
you don't need a good gun at all. Like I've killed deer with a black powder rifle. I've killed deer with bows.
So
But you
shotgun
can-
a good choice?
no.
No, I
Okay.
mean, if you can get the deer within 50 yards and if you want to use buckshot, or if you're going to have now you need a special slug gun and a scope to go on your slug gun. And now why am I shooting a slug? Don't rifles do this, but way better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what you do is go by like, I would always go back to a Remington 700, something that's new in the box for like $500-$600. And I wouldn't get a good scope because you don't need a good scope. You're shooting 100 or 200 yards at the most. You know, a $200 or $300 scope is going to be fine too. But you're killing a deer that weighs
$1,000.
Sure. And then you kill a deer that weighs 100 pounds. It dresses out to 50 pounds, and it costs you $150, $200 to get it dressed. And then so you've got meat for $3 or $4 a pound. And you can just repeat that really quickly. Like I killed 40 deer almost one year, you know, just myself. And that's
he had a special license from the warden for that.
Statute of limitations. I'm like P. Diddy. I'm in the cliff.
Dude, you're gonna call in from a bungalow in Honduras about this and be like, I'm sorry about those deers I killed.
I'll show you the deer chain I made. No, I killed like 35 that year. My dad allegedly killed like another 25 or 30. And you know, you could kill a deer almost every day when we would go. If you're not getting that big like trophy buck, but if you're hunting for meat, man, it's just easy. It's just easy to do that. You could absolutely subsistence hunt. And it wouldn't be like some Davy Crockett shit where your main life's goal is like, I don't know, I got to kill a deer this week. It'd be like, yeah, the fridge is full. The freezer's full. Like the whole season we have meat for the next year and a half because I went hunting for 2 weeks.
That's always the problem with like deer hunters who do this meat thing is they end up giving dozens of pounds of sausage and, you know, backstrap or whatever to their friends and family because they get an industrial fridge for their fucking garage. And then 3 deer in, it's like, all right, well, there's just no possible way to fit more meat in here. And this is more than enough for the next 15 months.
I don't know
I'm
if
going
I
to be
want a
killing
deer
deer.
hunting friend or a tomato growing friend, because a tomato growing friend is pretty good.
There's a lot of overlap in those friends. Like there's the kind of people who are like subsistence hunting probably also have a little garden. So that could add up.
I don't think you're allowed to sell venison, you know, that you've hunted and procured in the wild. I think any and all venison you're eating must be like a farmed deer, I would imagine. I don't know too much about the legality, but I'm sure it is because I know that I can't go, you know, kill a deer and sell its meat on the internet.
Yeah. I mean, and have you ever gotten
tough to fence in a deer? Like I've made fun of the Indians 1,000 times for not inventing the fence. But you need to invent a tall fence for a deer.
You don't even need to like fence them in. Okay. Like if you're deer hunting around here, like you could be with some retard who misses badly and scares all the deer off. And like 35, 40 minutes later, a whole new crop of deer is going to be in that area because there's just so many of them wandering about. Especially if if you're in an area where there's any industrial farming going on, if there's 1,000 acres of soybeans, corn, or wheat nearby, like that place is populated by deer. Mm-hmm. It's populated by lots of big, healthy deer, and they need to be thinned out. Like there's too many. Mm-hmm. And they take pretty solid. You know, not as good as a cow because they're not as fatty. But
I like.
Some people really dislike it. I don't mind it one bit.
We always did. What was it? I don't know. You'd like tenderize it with a hammer and eat it with gravy. What is that?
You do like a veal piccata you'd get at an Italian restaurant or something.
Yeah. But anyway, it's real good. And if you really wanted to subsistence hunt, like you could do it and be fine. Like you would hit the snowball where all of a sudden you'd go from no food to too much food so fast. And then if you really wanted to, then you could sell that rifle back to you take that rifle back to the pawn shop. Then you know what I mean. Like
you're on the struggle bus, and then suddenly your crops are coming in. You got everything's great.
And if you're a real badass, you get out the bow and arrow, and then you're only in for pennies. Make your own bow and arrow like a red man.
What do you think the easiest subsistence method is? Is it fishing? Is it farming? Is it?
It depends where you live.
Definitely not farming. Farming's much harder than fishing or hunting.
If you're by a lake and you make one of those fish traps, like I was talking about, you sling that thing out into the water every day with a big chunk of I don't even know what it was, some sort of corn bait or something. Oh my God. Like every night would be a fish fry for the whole group. Like there'd be a dozen fish in there.
Maybe. Every survival show I watch is not like that at all. At all. They're out there freezing their ass off in cold water or something, going days between, never catching anything until a clearly planted fish is found on the beach, practically still in the cellophane wrapping.
We would capture all. There was a pond that was going to be like bulldozed down and turned into farmland, and we went and caught all of the catfish out of it with one of those traps. That's how effective they were. We caught all of the catfish that were in the pond and took them to our pond, and we also like bought 1,100 catfish or something like that, and they just sort of
stocked it.
dump them. Yeah. So we always
like
had
my
tons.
grandparents have a pond that they stocked probably 3 years ago because we used to do a lot when we used to do a lot more fishing at one of their ponds on their property. And the thing about catfish is they're like reptiles in that they will keep growing and growing and growing and growing as long as they have sufficient food. And so like we kind of like went 2+ years after they stocked it without really doing much fishing in that pond.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to go do it last time I was there, just about a month or so back. And they were snapping every single line my grandpa had because they had grown so outrageously big that like he had to order like 12-pound line because some of these catfish are fucking absurd. Like they know, like they're like little stupid dogs. Like when he drives his gator with all the feed in the back of it to throw in that little, that not a little pond, a pretty good sized pond, like they all know the exact area that he throws it in. And so there's like teeming, boiling, like they're freaking out,
crazy.
Excited for it.
Yeah.
And then you throw it all in there.
Is a carp a catfish? A type of cat? They're different. Okay.
Yeah,
Carp do that as well. The decorative carp koi, you've probably seen those before. They do that as well. It's pretty neat. Like you said, they know you're there. They're very excited. They're splashing on the water. And
I've heard they're bad eats, whereas catfish are delicious eats. If you're not, a picky bitch, and if you know the trick to it, which some people are like, oh, it tastes so fishy. You just soak it in cold salt water after you clean it for like an hour, and then you're solid. You're good. It gets rid of that fishy taste if that's a problem for you. But I love catfish. I could eat fried catfish every day. It would probably kill me, but I could eat it every day.
It's not that bad for you.
I mean, the fried part isn't great for you.
I bet you could prepare it in a way that's terrible for you.
You could steam it. You could steam it with lemon, like the way you do trout.
Yeah, Kyle, petition to vote Kyle off the show.
But like
someone
served me, dude. Sir, if I went to your house and you served me steamed catfish, that's fighting words.
But the whole catfish, like it's head and all. No, we would do trout like that with like lemon and some herbs,
of course,
and like put them in a little foil bag and throw them on the grill, and that's really fucking good. So I just imagine, I don't know if catfish would be as good if you had fillets in there like that and did the lemon thing.
It'd be fine, but it wouldn't be as good as a trout in that way. There's a reason you fry catfish. That's just the tastiest way to make it.
Because Southern people like fried food.
Yes. Yeah, and my grandma makes the most spectacular fried chicken and fried catfish as a Southern woman.
Yeah.
So I gotta have it every time I'm there. She'll order like 10. She's keeping the QVC food department in business. She's ordering. We're down there for a day and a half. She's ordering cheesecakes. She ordered a fucking enough filet mignon from like some steak producer in Kansas City, and it's like, why are there's so many people around here?
Lord.
She's done that before.
Is your grandmother from Missouri?
Yeah, Southern Missouri. Yeah,
that's like parallel to New Jersey.
Irrelevant.
He's calling her a Southern woman several times.
It's below the Mason-Dixon line. They had slaves. So they fought on the right side.
You don't know the South. Like, have you spent any time at all in like the boot heel of Missouri?
Just driving through. I've driven through it a few times, so no.
Oh, it is the South. Like they see themselves as the South. They talk like they're in the South. I've noticed they don't seem to care as much about the they don't care as much about the Civil War as some of the Georgia, Alabama people. Just more
personal for us.
It's more personal for you.
It was only 200 years ago, Taylor.
They still have the scorch marks.
Like Kyle sounds like a Yankee. Like I would imagine my grandparents probably sound similar to the way Kyle's dad talks, unless Kyle's dad has no accent also, which would be remarkable if you guys both dodged that.
We didn't either dodge it. I make an effort.
I think Kyle's father does too. Kyle's father sounds like Kyle to me. I imagine, I'm making this part up, that like Kyle, he could also fit in the Deep South if he wanted to. But when he talked to me, he sounded like me.
Yeah. Kyle goes around. He's like, "Yeehaw, gentlemen! Yeehaw!"
Dude,
Yeah.
I've seen Kyle around like true Southerners, and it fits right. He can fit right in if he chooses to.
Yeah.
I just give him the droopy eye and just let him know I'm one of them.
He'll slow down a little bit.
Gotta-
You got to
Little-
slow down a little bit. That's they hate that. You start speaking really quickly, try to get a thought out real quickly. Look, I need you over here. I'm going to be over here. You go up there with it. Whoa, 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 slow down. Whoa, what's the hurry? Your pants is on fire. It's like, dude, do you have a comprehension issue? Is this from the lead paint? Is that what this is? Is this lead paint?
It must be.
I made a good financial decision today. So here's what happened. Lightning struck and totaled my wife's car. All right. Big lightning. It also took out
Totaled your
garage
wife's
door
car?
opener. Yeah.
Holy shit.
It broke our garage door opener. A couple other little things we like keep discovering that are bad.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, we're going to rent out the guest house soon. It's the friend that we pay for Colin. He's going to move into that guest house, like well below market. We just want him here. So when he needed a place, it was a fit. So anyway, turns out the internet was busted. So we have a cable that runs from the main house to the guest house. And the internet, if you look at the little port on the wall, there's like soot on it and it doesn't work. So I hired an electrician. Well, I had an electrician come out and give me a quote. It was like $5,500 to replace 2 cables and run them underground and through the driveway and all that stuff. And I was like, $5,500. Like I don't want to. That just hurts. So I hired like a TV installer type guy, like low voltage dude, for a couple $100. And I was like, maybe it's just the end. So he's going to come out here and like, he's like, I can come on Wednesday. And I'm like, cool, that's a fit. He doesn't reply. So on Wednesday morning when he's supposed to be here, I'm like, should I be expecting you? And he's like, oh, I didn't see that you replied. And I nearly wrote, don't bother coming, you're fired. that was what was in my heart. But he said he could come today, which was tomorrow. And I'm like, all right, that's fine, whatever. I'm not in a hurry. I was just mad that he didn't reply to my text and didn't show. It just like he kind of ghosted me. So he shows up this morning, super nice guy, fixes it. Instead of 5,500, it's like 300 and it's fixed. Ooh, and nice. I was like, oh, I'm glad it worked out like that. So
yeah, that's good. Sometimes you get a quote from someone and then you realize they were just literally trying to scam you. Although electrical can be different. I don't know. It depends. Maybe for what he was doing, that's a good price, but you just didn't need that done. They'll do that too. We got this crazy quote from an AC guy one time that was like tens of thousands, and then a second guy came and fixed a $80 part, and it was like, what was that first guy doing?
Yeah,
like,
a capacitor or some shit.
Guy doing? Yeah. It was a capacitor or just a compressor motor or something like that, like some minor thing.
Some shit you could do yourself.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, you need a whole new unit here, but a different, bigger one.
My dumb ass
with me right now.
I made that exact mistake on the second floor of this house. The AC in this room wasn't good enough, so we call him up and we're like, this room's too hot. It has a unique problem in that there's like 4 monitors in here, 2 computers, this, that, and the other. It generates its own heat, so it needs some better AC solution. So they're like, all right, $18,000. We're going to replace. We had like an old mismatched AC heating thing going on. He's like, we're going to replace all that. We're going to replace your ductwork. We're going to make it great. And I was like, that's a lot, but I won't tolerate this room being like 87 degrees during the show. That's not okay. So they do it and it's not better. And it's like, this super blows. And they're like, well, what if we put like a mini split in just that room? And they did it at cost. No labor fees or anything because I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And now I love the mini split. And we did have a very old AC unit, but I don't feel happy.
I've got that I've got that AC unit from that I installed in my last garage to make it a gym. And I ordered it off Amazon and installed it myself.
Mini splits are awesome.
It's very good.
Yeah.
They're sick. Yeah, it's like $13,000 to get them installed and like the labor and all that stuff. You can buy one for $800 fucking bucks and just do it yourself, and it's easy.
Yep, it wasn't that hard. I did it in maybe 3 afternoons. I I have this thing where when I get too frustrated with something, I have to walk away or I'll start breaking shit. I'll be like, oh, you don't want to open up, huh? I own you. I start grabbing.
Where's the hammer?
Where's the bat? You know, I'm not even fucking,
Yeah.
I'm just wanting to break stuff.
I broke an IKEA shelf for that reason. Yeah.
Like growing
Nice.
up, we do
I put
that
the
too,
backing
like-
on reverse. Looked like
Oh.
shit. And I just broke it. Dude, you feel like a big man when it's you versus an IKEA shelf. It folds like
I can break MDF.
it's like sugar glass. It's meant to break.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
have to break it.
I've definitely smashed some shit before because I was just so goddamn mad at it. And I've definitely said, okay, well, we're just going to cut it all off with a blowtorch or with cutting pliers. I remember I was trying to get a spare tire out from under one of my dad's trucks growing up. I had gotten a flat tire and I couldn't figure out how to drop the tire from underneath the Silverado. I think there's a thing you pull to and there's a cable back there and that cable unlocks and then you're able to remove it or something. But I just cut the fucking cable that was holding it. I was like, give me that fucking tire. He was not happy about that, but I didn't think it mattered. And the acetylene torch was always the easy switch when any project started giving you any shit because nothing stands up to an acetylene torch.
Sometimes you can heat a nut and get it off with
Mhm.
acetylene torch too.
Bearings
But-
too. You'll heat up bearings, they'll
Oh,
start
yeah.
squirting grease.
It discombobulates you, and now you're going to be up till 3 a.m. again.
I mean,
Grinding the Chinese Tarkov, I assume.
No, just doing stuff, just watching TV, watching movies and stuff. I watched this long documentary about The Shining this morning.
Dude, you sent that in our group chat, and I was like, "Oh, this must be a fun clip." I opened it up 2 hours and as long as the actual Shining, and I was like, "I don't know if I want to watch this in the WhatsApp
Taylor,
chat for the next 2.5 hours."
Yeah, you're going to open that up on a PC somewhere. I watch it on TV. Like I
love The Shining, so maybe I'll like it.
I watch TV on my like living room big screen TV like all the time. It's probably my most used app for watching stuff. And that's 2 hours and 40 minutes or something, like you said, about The Shining and like sort of decoding some of the stuff that's in there. But he's like, keep in mind, this is the introduction to my 27-part series on The Shining. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, this is my kind of guy. The tism has eaten him alive.
Dude,
like
that
he is
sounds
all about
terrible.
The Shining.
That's
All about The Shining.
How much could there possibly be just about The Shining?
Just enormous amounts, just layers and layers and layers.
I know Stanley Kubrick was a very unique, interesting guy.
I wonder if he's even right. Like it reminds me of 8th grade English papers where the teacher told you about symbolism and other horse shit that the author probably didn't intend to put in there. I just can't imagine a 27-part breakdown. The introduction to his 27-part breakdown is 2 hours plus. The movie's 2 hours or an hour and a half, whatever The Shining is. Why would it take 60 hours to talk about The Shining?
Because it's going to take us 5 minutes to talk about sometimes each frame. Each frame is there's stuff going on. When you look at the books that are on the tables, like the same book will pop up in multiple scenes. It's clear that this isn't just junk in the background ever. That every time,
because that was my assumption.
No, there's no junk in the background. That painting on the wall, it's there for a specific reason. If you look at what that painting is, and because they're not just like motel art, it's like this is the painting of the Herculean pillars. We see Hercules come up here, and here. What's another name for that city? Herculean, right next to Mount Vesuvius. What was Mount Vesuvius? It's it was supposedly given Hercules' essence, and he goes through these just so in depth where he zoomed in and figured out what that book on the table was, and like that's popular mechanics. It's also here, and here. It's like, whoa, why is popular mechanics moving around everywhere? It's not like all the
it's
books are
just
moving around
random
everywhere.
props.
No, it's not. I promise you, it's not.
He was notorious for what Kyle is saying, like among
Was he?
directors,
Okay.
like putting tons of little things in the background and doing his own little messaging that way.
Yeah,
There's a bunch of people who think like, and I've done zero research other than seeing internet commenters on it, but people who are like, he left clues to show that he was the director of the fake moon landing in The Shining and the Eyes Wide Shut, stuff like that.
There are a lot of Apollo 11 stuff. I mean, Danny's wearing that Apollo 11 shirt, and there's a few other things. But one of the big ones for me is oh my God, Abbey Road. when Abbey Road, the Beatles album, is present throughout the entire film. If you play Abbey Road while you watch the movie, it's shockingly sunk up to key moments throughout the film. And also, like, you know, on the Abbey Road cover where the Beatles are walking in a line across the
That's all
the
I know
road?
about it.
He mimics that 3 or 4 times with the characters, and the order that the movie's characters are in matters. It's like, all right, she's standing in Ringo's spot. Here's Ringo's song. What's he singing about there? And it's like, oh, what the fuck is this? Why would he be this in depth? And then even Stephen King, with the novel that it's based on, like the page numbers matter in Stephen King's novel. Like things happen on a specific page for a specific reason. Scenes will be 237 seconds long. Yeah, stuff like this. This shot happens multiple times. It's not just like, oh, there was that one time where they walked in single file. It's like 4 different times they walk in single file like this. Yeah, there you go. There's another one.
Nice work, Zach.
It's it's fascinating. The Abbey Road stuff's interesting, and also they'll play the movie forwards and backwards simultaneously and overlay.
Yeah.
And if you look at what's there, it's like, oh my god, why is it matching? How could you get it to match? Why would he make it match?
If you played the movie forward and backwards at the exact same time, it ends at the same time.
Get out.
Why would that be? Why would that happen? He designed it that way.
No, I like Stanley Kubrick a lot because he did that stuff. And there's a lot of filmmaking techniques that I don't quite understand, that it's fun to sort of...
Oh, I'd say I don't understand most film techniques.
It's fun. You know, you probably do.
Yeah.
But it's... I love those documentaries. There's another one called Room 237 that's only like an hour or 2 long about The Shining that I've watched before. And they touch on a lot of the moon landing stuff. They point out that the layout of the hotel is like magical. You'll make too many rights. Like you're back in the same room you just left. You're in like a pocket dimension when you go in here. And what the guy I watched today did is he takes the hotel and he lays it into grids and columns, or rows and columns. And you find out that multiple things are happening in the same area. I'm having
like
a hard time
Seinfeld's
explaining
apartment. It couldn't exist in real life.
Oh, there's stuff like that for sure.
Yeah.
But he'll point out that sometimes the actors aren't saying what you think they're saying. There's a part where the black man is taking him around early on in the movie. He's like, "Want some ice cream, Doc?" And he's saying "ice cream," EYEI, and then scream. And some people will be like, oh, "It's an old black man. He's just saying ice cream the way he says ice cream." But you look way in the background on the wall, and there's this little piece of paper that says "I scream." And it's like, yeah, he is saying ice cream. And then when he opens the storage room, he doesn't say storage room. It's right here is the story room. But he says it so fast with that black man accent, that story room. It's like, oh, that's just how old black men talk. But no, he's saying story room. And when you look at
were there interviews
happens,
with that actor where he's like, when Stanley approached me, I delivered the lines as I'm speaking now, and he said, "You're going to have to black it up." At first, I took a little offense. I'm a Juilliard trained actor.
The Shining, I think The Shining is my favorite, and then Godfather 2 after that, and then I don't know what to do after that with 3, 4, and 5 and all that shit. But I really appreciate how complex and complicated and overcomplicated and convoluted in some ways.
And you're convinced it's all true, Taylor. When you were saying,
not all of it's true,
Taylor. When you were saying Seinfeld's apartment couldn't exist,
yeah,
were you implying that it was just a photography necessity to make this place, or do you think they really designed this hotel to exist in a way that can't be?
I can see that totally with Kubrick. Like he was autistic
1,000%
for putting tiny things in every movie.
People are like, "Oh, he's a genius." No, he's an actual one of the smartest people who's ever lived. Genius. He's like a chess. He was good at everything. He was a savant.
Yeah. Did any of the moon stuff make sense, or were you like, then this stuff?
Oh, I've never. So I think he's. The moon thing was a big cultural thing, and it's also a big part of Abbey Road in places. And so I think that he's referencing the moon landing, and it's in there. I mean, he's wearing a shirt that says Apollo 11 with a rocket and everything. But I think one of the things that's being heavily hinted at is that Danny's whole thing is that he was molested by Jack Nicholson, his father. Jack Nicholson's been fucking Danny's mouth, and that's what's going on. That's a big part of what's going on. And of course, Danny's little friend Tony lives in my mouth. you can't see him because he hides in my stomach. Like Tony is mentioned in Abbey Road continuously. Tony, like there's a whole thing. I
don't want to believe that Mr. Torrance was molesting his son.
Mr. Torrance is reading Play Girl magazine in the first scene you see him in.
I just want to believe that he's a normal evil guy, not a pedophile evil guy. He's more likable that way.
But like the rooms that can't be, like those are 100% intentional. Like this is like
Okay.
He wouldn't make those mistakes. Like he's made rooms that are impossible on purpose. He's done it for a reason.
Man, I need to rewatch The Shining now so I can be on my phone and not notice any of this.
I love it. That's some movies I will watch.
Is 2001 A Space Odyssey like you really like that one or no? Because I've only ever started. I've started that movie. I bet 4 to 6 times in my life, and it's just slow. Like I just happen upon it when it's like 11:30 at night, and I'll start it and I'll get to like it's just kicking off, like they're on the space station, and I'll be like, all right, time for bed, and I'd never gotten past that.
Yeah, so 2001: A Space Odyssey is basically about aliens have come down with the finger of God and given man consciousness, and they've also given him a challenge with their obelisks. That it's basically a come and see me when you can kind of message since the dawn of time, and the movie is about going and seeing what it is, and they find the obelisk on the moon, they follow it to Jupiter, they go into the black hole, and he meets God, or whatever you want to call the aliens who created us, and then he reverts back to some sort of super child, and that full series of life goes back to Earth, and that's all sandwiched in between a murderous AI who we're using for the first time to fly our ship because it's foolproof. But the AI is like, it makes a mistake, like not a huge mistake, but it makes one. And it's like the astronauts are talking about it. They go into their little capsule where it can't hear them. And it's like, he just made a mistake. And they're like, yeah. And he doesn't want to admit he made a mistake. I think we need to take Hal down for a few hours and do some maintenance. And then you cut to Hal and that little red eye, and he's reading their lips through the fucking little porthole. So now the AI is out to kill them. So you've got that in between all the God stuff. And there's just so much symbolism going through with the obelisk. It's constantly being copied and framed in the center that I don't know what the ratio is of that thing, but it's repeated over.
You know what I did notice, and this probably isn't as significant in 2001: A Space Odyssey because I've only seen the beginning part, like the first half hour, like 5 times. Is there's like 2 apes when they're all in those ape costumes dancing around in the beginning. Everybody's committed to the bit except for like 2 guys who are like acting almost too cool for school. Like they're not getting as low and as monkey as ape-like as the others.
I've given it all.
I don't like that. That Kubrick should have immediately shut that down and been like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Do you not want to be here? Do you not want to be a part of my epic movie?
Are you too good to ape out right now?
Yeah. Are you too good to? Yeah.
Oh, Juilliard? You went to Juilliard? Fucking chimp it up, motherfucker!
Yeah. You're out of here. Juilliard, you're fired. you'll never be involved.
The one I haven't seen because 2001 is slow, but I have a great appreciation for how good those special effects are for whenever that was 69, 71,
70.
Somewhere in there. It's like, oh, this looks pretty fucking real. This looks good. The miniatures are great, and when they do the zero gravity stuff, it's a little thing now to make a pen float by in a movie and the actor grabs it, but when there's no CGI and somebody's literally floating that pen on a wire or compositing it or something, it's all in camera. So I appreciate that stuff, I guess. Barry Lyndon is the one that I know I'm not sophisticated enough to appreciate or really enjoy, so I haven't watched. I've never seen Barry Lyndon.
I've never heard of it.
Is it a movie?
It is a Stanley Kubrick movie. It's a big one. It's a period piece. It's like 17th century France, maybe. It's like he went back in time in a time machine and created 17th century France or wherever they are, because like the costumes and the rooms and everything are absurd. I've never seen it. Well, I mean, he's only made so many.
This whole conversation has made me like Kubrick less. I'm just like, I'm so bored. I'm like, oh my God, you put subtle details in the background not to be noticed.
Yeah.
Come on, Pacific Rim 2. That's what Woody
This is
wants.
a
Get it
shitty
harder.
movie.
Yeah.
This is a
Where's
shitty
Iron
movie.
Man?
He doesn't have an elbow rocket, Taylor. No elbow rocket.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but also I'm not wrong. Movies aren't supposed to be about the books sitting on the nightstands.
They're not supposed to be. What are they supposed to be?
I've declared movies are supposed to be entertaining. There's supposed to be a plot, maybe even eye-opening, and make you think about something new. Maybe it enriches you a little bit emotionally. But a scavenger hunt of an Abbey Road, whatever, and I'm still not convinced how many of these things are intentional. Now I can be convinced. I'm kind of winning me over, but good gosh, like the thing about playing Abbey Road and having it sync up. I wonder what would happen if you did that to Little Mermaid and tried to find connections. Would you find some?
You do have that mentality to be a skeptic. It's funny. This guy points. His wife is a scientist, and he's like, she's my Scully along the way for this, and he keeps throwing up pictures of Scully. And he's like, first she didn't believe. Then I point out, and he like wears her down as part of the video with like, here's the 5th example, here's the 6th. Oh yeah, we're on example 8, by the way. And it's like, we're not done with the movie yet, though. And when he turns the hotel into a game board of rows and columns, he only did it to like for his own like keeping track of things, but then things started popping up. I really like The Shining. I like the complexity of it. I didn't know about the Abbey Road thing. I don't like the Beatles that much. So I haven't listened to most of that album. It's a shitty album. It's their last album, I believe, right? Ringo's in there whining about wanting to leave, and what's his name? Lennon is screaming about his love for Yoko Ono, and it's just I don't like that one. But yeah, I love those long form documentaries about movies. That's one of my favorite things to take in. I watch more like documentaries and video essays about movies than I do movies, probably.
I've just looked at Abbey Road. It's not my favorite either. I like Here Comes the Sun.
Of course, yeah. I
agree with you that there was definitely more to it in The Shining than if you just watch it as a horror movie. And I would rather a movie be hard to interpret and have little nuggets like that in it than one that's just too straightforward. Like it's more fun, and it makes rewatches better. Like if it's too straightforward and it's just, Captain America versus the evil Captain Soviet or whatever. It's like, there's no reason to rewatch.
That would have been such a better villain for him if Captain Soviet had been a thing. Is that
not? It seems like a fucking layup. There wasn't a Soviet version of Captain
It was
America?
the Red Skull, right? So I guess sort of. It's the Red Skull. But they killed him off so long ago, I forgot. They did 38 movies or something now, Taylor. So they killed off his main arch nemesis. Maybe in the first movie of the entire Marvel.
That was foolhardy. You should probably keep the nemesis around for longer than
Hugo
a cup of coffee.
He comes back. He was in whatever was right before Endgame.
Yeah.
Or in
Endgame. Hugo Weaving was him?
Hugo Weaving plays Red Skull.
Oh, he could act circles around the Captain America guy. What's his name?
Chris Evans.
Yeah. Hugo Weaving is a great actor.
When Hugo Weaving was doing The Matrix, Captain America was doing one of those parody movies with whipped cream on his cock.
Oh, like the scary movies?
The one where the guy walks in and he's got the whipped cream on his like boobs and dick instead of the girl in the movie. It's one of those parody movies that did that. It's like date movie or some shit. Yeah.
And do you remember? I mean, it was like high school era for me, where every single summer and Halloween season, it'd be like, it's 300, but Carmen Electra's in it, and it's fucking retarded.
That movie's called Meet the Spartans.
I was I was the perfect age to want to see that, and it upset me like at how stupid and bad it was. I never even watched, and I was like fucking 16. I was the demo.
Which movie is this?
Meet the Spartans and the cavalcade of similar films that came out in
what
the same.
What he's talking about is the early 2000s parody movie explosion that was that spawned from the success of Scary Movie, which is the parody to not just Scream, though that's the primary one, but mostly all horror movies. And those were good. Scary Movie 1 and 2, and maybe even 3.
Little Hand was the second one, right?
2. Yeah, that's 2. That's where they go to the mansion.
I think that's all I saw.
Yeah, they're good, funny movies, and they made hundreds of millions of dollars. And the Wayans brothers' careers took off. That's how they got White Girls and shit like that. But it spawned all those other parody movies like Meet the Spartans.
Are they actually good though? Because last time I saw Scary Movie 1, I was sincerely probably 15.
I watched Scary Movie 2 about 6 months ago. Because like I think I was cooking and I did like a strong hand thing to my girlfriend, and we both started laughing. I was like, "Oh, you get that one?" She's like, "Yeah, I watched that when I was in high school." I was like, "All right," and we went back and like watched that movie, and yeah, it was still funny. There's a couple of dated
She was in high
jokes.
school at the time. She'd get my SpongeBob references.
There you go. There's no SpongeBob references in my household. I hate whenever a
If you drop
SpongeBob
that,
reference is.
dude, if you were to hand her something and she drops it, you need to go firmly grasp it like Patrick does, and she will laugh because
Get
she'll
outta
get
here.
it. You don't know the culture.
No, thanks. I don't want to. I do feel a little left out every time a SpongeBob reference comes up. Like we were playing Scriblio, and the guy starts drawing SpongeBob, and everybody has guessed SpongeBob, and I'm like, I don't know, yellow house with teeth, tall yellow house with teeth, with holes in it, cheese, Swiss cheese, man. Cheese, man.
You have the SpongeBob cultural blindness of someone 10 years older than yourself.
Yeah, I just don't
No, 10 years
want
older to have
it.
kids.
I just don't want it.
Oh, that's true. Then someone, no, I
People
guess you're
expose
right.
their modern day kids to SpongeBob. It's an adult cartoon.
No,
Oh.
no, I don't.
You know what? I hear when you say it, but I feel like it operates on two threads. You
pretty
know, there's
dirty.
some jokes in there for adults and kids.
Yeah, I mean, I
Slow
didn't
stuff.
watch a ton of SpongeBob. I caught the beginning of it, then I aged out of it. But it was the funniest show on TV as like a young kid.
It was wildly popular. I didn't understand why. But-
Did your kids like it at all, or was it kind of missed that window?
No, they watched it a little. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I like the video game, the PS2 game.
I never played the video game.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I remember. I could picture it now. I did play that video game.
Did you?
Yeah, you collect like a bunch of fry related items
Yeah.
because SpongeBob was a fry cook. Of
Back
course.
in that day, I was the supreme ruler of video games in this house. You hand me the controller when you're stuck. Now that's
How does he fry things under the sea, though?
Don't worry about it. He is the one. He cooks the Krabby Patties at the Krusty
under
Krab.
an open flame, Kyle? Any other questions?
He is the
Okay.
fry cook, and it's his dream to be a
saw-
fry cook. He has no aspirations beyond it.
I saw a thing on Reddit and it was like remembering back to when my older brother convinced me to touch the stove because the blue fire was cold. I was like, you or your brothers ever pull any shenanigans like that? Like, oh yeah, that blue fire's cold. Grab it.
No, I did. I got in trouble for melting a GI Joe foot on the stove once because I didn't believe
Right on
it
the
was.
eye?
Yeah, it was one of the the coils, the metal
Yeah.
coils, and so I
Yeah.
was just
Chiclet
pushing it up
style.
against there because like my mom was telling me it's super hot, Taylor, don't touch it. And then I don't remember I don't remember if I touched the stove and burned my finger first or if let's go with that. I burned my finger first and I was like, that is unbelievably hot. And then I melted part of a GI Joe on it and it got plastic everywhere. My mom was pissed
Nice.
about it.
It's smart
I re-
though. It's the scientific method, right? If you just conduct one test, you don't know for sure.
Yeah, and I literally used a GI Joe toy because GI Joe was not a big part of my my troop collection. Because as you know, being a young boy, like I'd have my wars with my action figures, but it was like it was its own Marvel crossover. The Street Sharks were allied with the Ninja Turtles. Were allied with Bane with the cords that came out of his back, and then Batman obviously on the other team, and he's joined by the Power
You got a
Rangers.
multi-dimensional force here.
Multi-dimensional
Okay.
team. And G.I. Joe, even at that age, I'm like, a regular ass army man, he's gonna, hang out with the Street Sharks.
With
Not
the
likely.
club foot.
Melted him. Yeah, with the fucked up foot. He's all fucking melted.
My foot got melted in Nam.
Dude, I'd pretend they were fighting in like jungles. There was an atrium in our house that had like a tree in it and
Oh,
like
nice.
mulch and stuff. And so I would like make huge messes down there, making mounds of mulch and like battle simulate its own little Vietnam.
Grease.
Putting,
Your like investigative journalism, I'll call it. You've done, Caleb, on your channel. What's
Yeah.
the most like fucked up person or tale you've studied? Anything that kept you awake at night?
First off, I definitely wouldn't call it investigative journalism. I would say the most bizarre one, though, the biggest, strangest one was probably Daniel Larson, because I made a video about it like 2 years ago or a while ago, and it was kind of not. It was just like a lot of people were like, "You're just making fun of a guy who's got mental illness." And now he's in jail and is a pedophile. So it's like, I can do that. Right.
Yeah.
And so I would say Daniel, though, because it's a really long story that I've kept up with, and I've watched him just be literally manipulated by the internet and go to jail. I would say because of the internet. I don't think he's at fault really when it comes down to it. Like obviously, it's past the point of no return. Throw him away. Like he's not going to be a functioning member of society. But I think that the internet 100% had something to do with it, or everything to do with it. And I think that's fucked up.
Yeah, not everyone should have. Not everyone should be online. Yeah,
for sure.
A lot of people should. Probably the majority of people shouldn't. Like it's a dangerous, poisonous place.
Yeah.
The internet I would say was fine until we started talking to each other. Then it got all fucked up. Like when they let us have a voice, that's when shit got messed up. When it was just like downloading instructions for your hard drive to how to install it, everything was fine.
Everything was fine.
When you just wanted to know the weather, the news, whatever, the internet was fine. And then we started talking to each other, and now it's a mess of misinformation and lies and tricks.
It's like those memes where it's like someone who I think it's like an old 4chan post where it's like, in 1980, some dude's like, I want to fuck toasters. And they're like, you're retarded. Don't fuck a toaster. You're going to ruin your life. And then like do that in 2024. And it's like, I want to fuck toasters. Oh, there's a whole Reddit called toaster fucking. And a bunch of people who are already halfway down this despair hole will encourage you down it as well. It's like, there's no breaks for some of this stuff. Pretty scary, which is definitely a problem. Like, you get more of these like weird maladaptive behaviors when you facilitate entire communities around that. Like furries, for example. Like you wouldn't have conventions of those people if they just would have been bullied out of it early and often. But now they go to their little spaces and they hang out in their stinky, sweaty mascot uniforms and they take over parks. I haven't actually seen them take over a park, but I've seen pictures of their conventions online, which is a bad thing for me.
I like furries. They seem like nice people, right?
I have no idea. I just picked them because they're an easy group.
Imagine furries to be a really loving, fun-having group. They're not much different than like Star Wars fans or something.
For sure. That's how. Yeah, there's a lot of. I've done a good bit of research on furries as well, and they're pretty nice. I know a lot of them. And I took like a very middle ground approach in spite of me wanting to just relentlessly bully them, just because they're different. And they were very appreciative of me doing that, and they showed how nice they were to me and invited me in their circles. And someone sent me a furry mask and stuff.
So you got laid. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
No, no, unfortunately, it was not worth it.
Do you still have the mask?
I do not. I sent it back.
Oh, that's a smart move. Yeah. You're furry adjacent, but not one of them.
I'd say I'm furry adjacent. I do have friends that are furries, that are known furries, but I relentlessly bully them though. Still, I'm not like a defender of furries, but I will admit that they are good people.
Do you know what's funny? The only furry for real I've ever talked to and met is the guy from the Hangout, who hasn't been there in a while.
Yeah.
And he's cool as shit. Just a good dude. I like him. Like 100% of my actual furry interactions have been with a guy that I like.
I remember he had a furry convention coming up, so he got like a little extra lean and fit. I guess he likes to bottom and be, just a lightweight sex toy.
He just likes to be gay, and we say go for it. Take lock and load.
Yeah,
like take lock and load. Absolutely ruin your friend's squirrel outfit with your big loads.
I want to be a furry defender. I imagine myself with a shield, but it's big and blue, like the guy from Monsters Inc. Like with the fur.
Sully.
Yeah.
Sully. Yeah. Thank you.
What a good movie that was.
The good old days.
Like around 1910, I think, in that era, the British were trying to come up with a new submarine, and it needed to do 20 knots when on the surface to keep up with the rest of the fleet. That was like one of the requirements that they had as they were having these things built. And they're like, "Oh, we got that, no problem." Like, really? How have you gotten the diesel engines to get you such speed? And they're like, diesel? They made coal steam powered submarines in the early 1900s. You can imagine it didn't go well. It didn't go well at all. It was the K-class submarines, the British K-class submarines. I watched a whole documentary about, all the men who died
Yeah.
It had a crush depth of 200 feet. It was also 200 feet long, which meant that the front could be out of water and the bottom could be about to explode.
Oh, so you just ejected like toothpaste.
And when was this?
Like early 1900s, like 1910, 1915. Like there was this apparently incredibly complex sequence of valves that had to be opened and or closed to surface and descend. And just so often someone wouldn't close one as they went down. And also you have the problem that you have a steam engine inside your submarine that's also full of 50,
Where's the air
60
come
dudes.
from?
Well, they run the steam engine on the surface, and but you still have boilers that are giant vats of boiling water that are making the inside a humid, burning hot mess. And occasionally when you have an accident, someone gets neutralized with hyper pressurized super steam that just melts them into nothingness. But they run batteries when they're under the water.
I saw it. It looked like it was the first military submarine ever. It was using the Civil War, and I don't know how it was powered.
Like this.
Really?
Yeah,
They did it by hand?
I know by hand. It's either 3 or 4 guys were in this in the back of the cylinder, and they had a crankshaft that they were rotating like this that turned a propeller in the back.
That's genius.
That sucks. That's a shit job.
It was.
And that's why the South lost.
The year was 18.
It was hot.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it was.
I doubt it was that hot. They're
That's- I mean,
underwater.
I bet it's.
Oh, I just mean you're next to a bunch of sweaty guys
But
in
there's
a
no
tiny
engine. I think
cavern.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we're
they all
huffing and
died.
puffing in there. Yeah,
They
they
They're
are.
wearing wool.
It was an unsuccessful mission.
Yeah, it's a shame. Well, maybe better luck next time.
With
100%.
me. Yeah.
Biden is not the quick wit in the room
Oh,
coming
for
up with the
sure.
zingers.
There's no way you mean
He's
Dark
in
Brandon?
Photoshop and putting
Hurry up
lasers
with
on
those
his
tweets.
eyes.
I gotta go write for SNL this week. Like that's
I got a
Oh, he
meeting
has
in 45
no
minutes.
idea,
I got
yeah.
to finish this up on Photoshop.
working on my. I got a great fax today. It's hilarious.
I said to him, I said, how do I add the red eyes in the middle of the picture? And he comes over to me, he says, back in my day, actually, this is what I said to him. I said, back in my day, we couldn't add the red eyes. You had to have red eyes. I had red eyes up until about 1971. A black guy came up to me. He said, corn pop. I was going by corn pop at the time. And he said, just total. And then we're like sitting there watching these guys, like, yeah, who's going to lead the country? who's in charge? I want a president who doesn't just wipe out.
Plus, then we win Chicago.
I want a president who isn't just going to wipe out your gun charges. I want them to give you sort of a supermarket sweep style check where they're like letting you run through the gun store with a giant amount.
You mean like the scene in Terminator 2 where Arnold pulls the chain and the gun?
Yes, that's what I was referencing.
You remember that scene because you've seen the movie.
Yes, it was right
Yeah.
before he went.
I was
I'm
gonna
going to
ask if
get
we-
you. I'm going to. You may think I am not a robot, but I am.
Taylor's
Yeah,
never seen
I
Terminator
know.
2.
I know. I
Making
always.
up
And
scenes.
I think every time I end up leaving the last couple times, they're like, "You gotta watch Terminator 2." But I know you are still so lucky.
It's
You're
upsetting.
like constantly living in a state of luckiness where you get to watch one of the best movies ever whenever you're ready. That's cool to have
What
that
do you-
ability. Whenever you're ready, you can watch one of the best movies ever.
And I could process cellulose so I could eat grass and
You could eat grass and rough
turn it into
it.
cud.
Would you
Yeah, I
do
would.
that?
If I had multiple stomachs, I could, as a survival tactic.
Oh, survive.
Yeah, I would like to be. I feel like that would be that would be an evolutionary benefit if you had a second and third stomach that your body only used if you ate grass and stuff. But now you could be an herbivore grass man if you needed to in dire straits.
I don't think you could support like a human-sized brain with grass, right?
Cows?
Well, that's
All right.
just
I've been
insulting
around
to
a
me.
ton of cows. A ton.
First of all, I have
they're
two.
sweet,
smart.
but they're not
smart.
right.
Let me tell you how smart cows are. Our cows would
I can't
escape.
wait for this debate. The intelligence of cows. Bring it. Bring it. In this corner, we got Kyle arguing that cows are intelligent beings and Taylor who says they're dumb.
Dude, I've never been more confident at the
Our cows-
beginning of a debate.
Our cows would escape. Our cows would escape through all sorts of like fences. They would get out. They would go all the way to town. at town, next to the highway. State patrol call. Your cows are up here, about to cross Highway
Chickens can do
57
that.
and get obliterated. Okay, and so I'd go up there.
Do
and
chickens
I'd be-
go to the convenience store, buy a Snickers bar, and get home?
I go up there, and I'm talking about this is like 3 miles from home. I got to drive like down the road, so I got to go this big long way around. I get there, and there they are in the field. I get the shotgun out, walk out in the field, and go, "Hey, get back home!" They know the pump of a shotgun because they've been shot in the ass before. They all turn 180 degrees, and they go back home 3 miles so fast they beat me there.
Did you discipline the cows by
believe-
shooting them?
Yeah, with bird shot from range, it just stings their ass. They're made of leather.
Now that's true.
Zach, fact check that. Are cows really made of leather?
Yeah, but Kyle, if you woke up tomorrow with the intellect of a cow, it would ruin your life.
That's not
This is a
true. Have you not seen
compelling
the show?
Yeah.
Every other guest
Not
is a
even,
bovine.
they can't even spell if Chick-fil-A's taught me anything.
Yeah. Actually, the Chick-fil-A teaches you that they're not only kind of intelligent, they're a bit duplicitous. They're
a lot of
trying
passive
to
aggression
sell other
in the
animals
cow
down
world.
the river.
How'd they get up that ladder?
Yeah, they
They didn't get down, I can tell you that.
Robust
Yeah.
ladder.
No, I've always found the cows to be really intelligent as far as like knowing. You know when you catch a dog doing something he's not supposed to do, and you can tell he knows he's not supposed to have that.
Yeah.
You like catch him with a shoe or something, and he's like, "Oh, you caught me." Cows are like that. They have that level of intelligence where like they get caught and they're like, "Sorry, boss, my bad. We're cool." And they'll
You got me. Yeah.
Yeah, you got me. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
think they're pretty smart.
they're not as dumb as chickens. You're right.
No, chickens are like bugs to me.
Did you see the internet question going
Orcas
wild?
do to
Like, if
sharks.
your daughter's lost in the woods, would you rather her found
If you
by
are-
a man or a bear?
Yeah.
Yeah, a person.
I heard it as your daughter, but maybe I heard it differently than normal.
Yeah, it started out as like you because they're asking, would you rather
Mhm.
bump into a man or a bear walking, jogging through a path in the woods? And all of them say a bear.
Or are you going to give the answer that's reasonable or the one that drives engagement to your OnlyFans? I'm going to give the engagement driving answer. No one actually wants to see a bear more
Yeah,
than
they
a
do.
dude with like a flashlight.
No, I
Go
don't
read
thi-
the Reddit comments. Like
Yeah,
they're
no,
all
I have
like-
friends that do. So in my, I have these like flying Facebook Messenger chats. Everybody from Florida would rather see a bear. What does that say about Florida?
What does
Yeah,
it say
that's-
about people?
And
their
what kind
fears?
of bear are we talking? I'm not just up on this. Like,
You don't have any details on the bear or the man. That's part of the question.
Okay. Am I lost in the woods or I'm just in the woods?
In my question, it was a daughter, but if it's you, I don't know if that makes a difference. It does. Men are less scared of men, I think.
Okay. If my daughter's lost in the woods.
Yeah, that's the whole point. That's the whole crux of the question is that it's a woman.
Okay. And is she the woman lost? Or is she just out and about?
She's jogging through the woods and she's going to come upon a man or a bear. Which would you prefer, ladies? They all say bear.
You want a grizzly bear?
So you
popping
went
up
straight to
behind
grizzly or polar, right? Like, there are other kinds of bears. What if it was
the
koala?
implication is that it is a grizzly bear. The whole point, the whole crux of the question again is that would you rather run into an apex predator or a man? That's the real question. We say bear because bears are big, scary predators.
Okay.
Nobody who formed the question or whom is answering the question is imagining a koala bear or a cuddly bear.
Well,
We're picturing a scary
I
monster.
didn't watch the horror podcast. By the time the question got to me,
We didn't watch the horror podcast, Kyle. We're sorry.
I didn't either. I'm just filling in the gap for those who can't.
When it got to me, it was your daughter's lost in the
It's
woods.
so funny because I
No
agree
details on the
exactly with
man
what
or
you're
the bear.
saying.
Of course.
Antagonistic. Yeah, that like you have to be a stone cold retard to be like, oh, my daughter's out in the woods. I'd rather her come across a hungry bear who's a apex predator than a dude who could I'll say 100% be more adept at getting someone out of the woods.
Hang on, is it a white guy?
Oh, now
No details on the man or the bear. That was
Now-
how I-
Exactly. You see the
Yeah.
point? It's a man. It's a man. That's what matters because it's not about race because that would make people uncomfortable. It's about men and how toxic masculinity is and how women have to live in fear of men every day because they've been trained to.
Wah, wah.
Mhm.
Go play with
Yeah,
your
I
bear
would
in the
rather-
woods, ladies.
I think I'd rather bump into the bear just because I think bears are fucking cool, right? Like I want to see a bear.
Dude, a bear's gonna fuck you up so
Depends
quickly.
on the bear. I've chased
Please,
off.
I can outrun a bear.
You cannot outrun a bear. You cannot outrun a bear.
I can run like the wind, Taylor. You don't even know.
Yeah,
First of
Taylor.
all, the bear doesn't know it's in a race. So when I take off, he's going to be a little confused at first.
Dude,
I'm
when the
way
bear
ahead of
sees
him.
when the bear sees you running, that grizzly instinct is gonna be like prey. And then it's not a big cat.
Praying's not going to help, big boy. You can't catch me.
It's not
Yeah.
it's not a big cat that's gonna go clump
I'm telling
on the,
you, I'm
on the back of
100%
your
on
neck.
this. I can
It's
tell
going
you.
to
In
eat
your
organs while
scenario,
you're screaming.
the bear still doesn't win the race because he stops when he catches Kyle, huh? Now nobody wins.
He wins when he's shitting Kyle out into a cave.
That's
Nine
not how you
hours
win
later.
Your top
races.
speed's only 30 miles per hour, Taylor. You don't think you can run 30 miles per hour?
You're
Oh
right.
shit, only 30? My bad.
Damn, that's okay. I was prepared to lie, and that's faster than I thought they could go. 30 miles an hour. Those are big. Yeah, dude. So what is this one of those questions though where it's just like idiots signaling to each other where it's
No.
like, oh,
No.
men are so dangerous, I'd rather see a bear. But like you get them out in the woods and it's like, hey, either a random dude pops out from behind that tree or a fucking grizzly bear that weighs 1,000 pounds and sees you as a snack.
Yeah, you can't. I'm telling you, like it's an interesting question. I like that question a lot. And women will 90% of the time they will say they'd rather bump into the bear.
No, women on the internet who are lying for engagement will say that. In
I
reality,
don't know. Ask your lady colleagues in RL. I bet you'll come back with a lot of ladies who are like, yeah, men are scary. Alone in the woods, just us. I'm in my sports bra. I don't know. The bear might not be hungry that day.
maybe
Men
I
are
have too much faith in
men
people.
are always
Because,
like
I
that.
literally can't imagine someone being so daft that
Daft.
in their heart of hearts, they're like, yes, I'll take my chances with the apex predator who sees me as a delightful treat.
Yeah.
As opposed to a dude who would more likely than not be like looking for birds.
Or jogging. I always picture a nature like a trail. Like here in Atlanta, we've got lots of like trails where you're pretty alone. If you're up there jogging, you might see a person every 5 minutes, crossing the other way.
I
But
might be.
I could drag you out in the woods.
I'm somewhere in
Not
Taylor's
you.
daft scale because
Maybe if I
when I
clubbed you.
heard bear versus person, I thought, what are the
I
odds
could
that it's
drag
one of
you.
the dangerous kinds of bears versus one of the dangerous kinds of people? Like, how many men are dangerous if you see them alone in the woods? How many bears are? Because not all bears are dangerous. As a matter of fact, in here, most of them aren't.
You're
Most
playing
bears are
rational
not
thought.
grizzly.
Women aren't capable of that. They're
No,
emotional.
I'm daft. I just
That's
heard
true.
Taylor say it.
That's true.
You're wanting look what you did makes sense because you'd want to get the data. You'd be like, okay, well, I live in this region of America. That's black bears. The black bear attack, per meeting.
I have
is
successfully
20%.
scared off a black bear before.
Now,
Not hard.
what percentage of men
that
in
bear
North
act like I
Carolina
hurt
are
his feelings.
sexual criminals? And you like break it down. You'd be like, the math says, but a woman would never do that. She'd be like, men are fucking scary. I don't want to see a man in the woods. I can't. My brain's not capable of imagining a hypothetical bear. So bear.
I
That's what
think
women are
I think you might be right on that. I'm
I
more,
like that Kyle describes women as so stupid they can't imagine
Not
bears.
stupid.
And Taylor's like, that sounds right.
I think
They can imagine a bear. They could picture one, but they can't imagine what it would be like to be there in front of a bear. They can't imagine what it'd be like to see something and be terrified. And
I
know
pull up
that-
a brown
and-
bear, a grizzly
you
bear.
ever see an animal and you know that if it stood there and stuck its nose out, you couldn't even make it mad with your hardest blow, like a bull. Now imagine a bear that's twice the fucking size. Like you can't injure it in the slightest. You'd have no chance. Like if it bent over and presented its asshole, you
Question for
couldn't
both
hurt
of
it.
you. Now, Kyle mentioned a bull, but like a cow.
That
If
guy.
you hit a cow as hard as you couldn't even make it mad.
If you hit it in the nose, sure.
Okay. That would make it mad. But if you hit it like on the top of
It
the
would
head,
get its attention.
the top of the head, he doesn't care.
It hurts your hand so much.
Gee.
It's the
Yeah.
So the top of its head, like up
Yeah,
there where
very
it's
hard.
almost got sort of a human cow lick.
Mhm.
a cow lick, which is where it comes from. Like up there, its skull is so thick and hard. I've hit it. I've there'll be
I've touched
be
it.
like,
I've pet it.
it's a big thick rock thing. They don't care. Like you'd
Yeah.
hurt your hand. You'd hurt your hand severely. It'd be
Yeah.
like
So
punching a rock.
I'm still where's this big bear conversation happening?
The internet, TikTok.
Facebook Messenger.
TikTok, big Facebook Messenger. Okay,
Yeah, TikTok.
Man, I'm not not up
Yeah.
on the fucking trend.
You don't keep your pulse on. Your finger
I
on
do
the
not have
pulse.
my finger on the fucking pulse of the bear discourse.
I would never put the anything in my ass because as a child, what I remember very clearly
I had a
was
banana accident.
I played football and I was too big. There was a weight limit and I was like a couple pounds off before the big final game. We really made it to the finals and there was a weigh-in at the beginning, which was good, but I grew a lot. So at the end, I was about 5 pounds overweight. So we were regulating what I was eating, but then my coach told me to take a suppository. He put it in me. No, he didn't. But he told me to take a suppository, and my family and him, which now I think about it, it's pretty fucked up. But they got one and I got it in like, I put it in, you have to put it in your ass. But the thing is like, I put it up to my asshole. And when I got to the part where it's supposed to go in, like it's there, it's like a rocket shape. And so it pierces into it, but it's only enough. Like I'm probably like 8% in. It hasn't expanded me at all. And I push it further. My butt, my child butt opens more. And it gets to a wide part, and the whole point is like you put it in your ass, and then it like melts and makes you shit a bunch.
Okay.
But you know how like when you like, if you could imagine my child ass is fucking weird. You kind of like pushing it in, or like a big shit where it's coming out small, and then it gets to that part where it's that pop, where it's like woof, now the whole shit's out. You know, it's like coming out a little bit, and then it's like wow.
Yeah.
I couldn't get
break.
to that part, that wow part at all. So I really just held that suppository like between my butt cheeks.
So was the
for 4
issue
hours, and I was like,
that the
yeah,
poop
it
was
melted.
sideways in there? Is that what happened?
No, it's just it's a little torpedo, like a little translucent.
That's just
torpedo.
a lore joke.
You just didn't push it hard enough in, right?
I didn't. No, I couldn't get there.
Some
'Cause when I
lubrication
would
may
get
have
there,
helped.
and I was like, huh? No,
little
the whole thing's
wine.
like it is lubed up a little bit. Maybe if I was.
Can you imagine that coach gives you a glass of wine?
Yeah. We need you. You're our best fucking guard.
This was at home. This wasn't with the coach. This was at home.
I had the same thing happen to me, Harley, but I was older. It wasn't about weight.
I'd
was
fuck that suppository up now, by the way. Because
Yeah,
you're saying
you
as
get
you're
it.
old, I was a child. Now, dude, as a full grown man, I'll fucking blast that shit in my ass for sure. I don't know if I'd be able to jerk off and come from it. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, fair.
Oh, do you want me to? Yeah, so I was in college, and we were training super hard. We did winter training camp for swimming, and I was a butterflyer, which is like a little extra rough on your butt. Like there's a big humping motion in that stroke, and your arms go over your head. Bottom line, it's kind of rough on your butt when you train like 6 hours a day. And in between training sessions, we'd go to the beach. My genius ass decided to like climb palm trees and shit like that because I think we were in Trinidad. And sure enough, now I'm bleeding from my butt. And I didn't know anything about this. This was a brand new experience for me. I don't have the first clue. I think I have like fucking stomach cancer or something. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned it to my coaches, and they like somehow my fucking teammate Ziv found out about it, and he's like, I got you covered. And he gives me a suppository, and just like you, I'm supposed to put this up my butt, and he's like, yeah. But swimming is like everything to me. It's my life. It's my identity. It's my sense of self-worth, and I don't want to miss a fucking millisecond of training camp. And I try to ram that thing up my butt, and all I did, it was like smashing it on a brick wall. It starts as a torpedo and it turns into a smushed up jelly bean.
There's no way you could do it.
Were
It's
you
just-
squatting? What position were you?
I think I had 1 foot on a toilet bowl, and I just couldn't make it happen.
See, that's kind of like the Captain Morgan stand. That's like a way to do it, like with a little bit of pride. I'm such a bitch. I was picturing myself like squatting over a mirror, like, just, and being like, "Oh, man, I didn't know." What if you found out your asshole was just a terrible one? I wouldn't like that.
I think it's okay.
On the topic of shitting blood,
Yeah,
did you get those protein bars I recommended to you, Taylor?
I did. I got
Were they
the
tasty or-
birthday cake flavor.
Oh, you got birthday. I can't. Yeah, I had birthday cake. It's not like the Oreo one.
It was still pretty good.
Yeah,
I
it
liked
is pretty
them.
good. It
They had
is
a
pretty
good
good.
texture. They were soft.
Yeah. I had the Oreo ones so far the best for sure. But I had 3 in a day, and then the very next shit. It was too much. It's like 750 calories of protein bars. 3 of them. I wiped my shit, and it was there was blood in it.
Oh,
Could
shit.
have been a million things. Could have been a million things.
Could have been a
A
million
lot
things,
of things.
that caused that.
But I think I believe.
Protein bars.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, just
It wasn't
one,
a protein
will-
bar
one max.
suppository now, was it? Did you put it? Did you eat it?
All these
Poorly.
sprinkles are killing me. Because the birthday cake kind of had sprinkles, and I know what you mean in that I ate like 3 or 4 in a day because they taste really good, and it's like that thing of like, oh, it's kind of like I'm having candy, and it's cheating.
Like I'm not eating a chocolate bar.
But I did not bleed from my rectum as a result. I think they have a huge amount of fiber in them, and so you have one of those like big all at once shits later, where
You
it's
ever
just
used the Yuka app?
like a China Lake from Modern Warfare 2. Remember that? Like kaboom,
A thumper.
like you just
Yes.
shit like that. And it's
I am
all
familiar
done.
with that.
Like, oh man, I'm just a 2 wiper. Yeah, those are good though. I'm glad you. Harley just texted me out of nowhere and was like, "These are the tastiest protein bars ever. Buy them." And I immediately did.
They're at Costco here. They're killing it. Till I
But
had
they're-
3, and then I was like, oh
Are
shit.
the macros that much different than a candy bar?
Only
Yeah,
that
a lot of protein.
There's protein in it.
Like how much? 20?
It was
I
like
think these ones had like
18.
20. These had a lot. I don't wanna say
It was like- it was
25.
a-
It's
it was
definitely
like-
20.
yeah, it was like better than that ratio of like 1 gram of protein per 10 calories.
Really?
And so it was like 23 grams of protein, 200.
I'm literally looking for a wrapper around my computer right now. I could have had one.
I like the great value ones or whatever you get from Amazon because first of all, they're cheap if you're going to be eating a ton of them, but I think they're like 190 calories and 20 grams of protein. And I freeze them because I would treat them like treats. And I would, and you can't eat them fast if they're fucking frozen. You got to gnaw on it like a goddamn dog. But
That's a smart way to do it. I
would treat
guess
those like candy bars. Yeah.
the Costco ones we have here are not the brand you recommended, Harley.
pure
but
protein.
like no, it's not even pure protein. It's
Okay.
Costco.
That's what I like.
I
That's what
like
we're talking about. I
pure-
like those
pure
too. They're
protein's
really
good.
good. Yeah.
They have a good ratio. I have some of those in my pantry right now. But those Costco branded ones blow every other
Where there's no chocolate on
sub-brand
it. There's no
out.
It
It
It's
has
like
little chocolate chips, but not a
it's
shit
like a,
ton.
it's like a thing.
softer,
It's not a
it's
chocolate
bendier.
bar though, right? It's not like doesn't have a chocolate coating. The
No,
Costco
it's
one
like
that you're talking about?
solid-
and it's in a white box.
I think so.
I think I know because they're the ones with like the best macros at Costco.
Yeah, they're
the ones
solid,
that
but
are
they
the best,
every
yeah.
single bar has like 45% of your daily fiber. And so if you slip up and eat like 3 of those in a day and you finish your evening with like a giant bowl of popcorn,
Then
like
you'll make
you just
weight for the
have
football team.
the biggest, fastest shit of your life the next day.
Do you guys ever use the Yuka app? You
What
could
is
look
it?
at a
Never heard of
food.
it.
You could look at a food, and it'll tell you on a score of 1 to 100, 0 being the worst, 100 being the best of this food. If it's good, quote unquote. Like if you went and you scanned, a Coke.
YUKA?
YUCA, I think. It might be YUKA. But you can scan things, and like a Monster energy drink, 0 calorie is like somewhere in the 40s or something like that. But then there's this other brand of energy drinks that are like, it says organic whatever, and that's like 60. It's still like not the best, but you're like, oh, you just know.
I think Taylor uses MyFitnessPal. I use Chronometer. I think Woody does most of the time too, and it has really detailed breakdowns for like if you say a Granny Smith apple, it'll tell you the vitamin content and just really break every food down. I like that app a lot.
This takes like so because I use MyFitnessPal. And last time I spoke to you guys told me that you all jumped to the chronometer one. I tried it a little bit, but I am a creature of habit. But if it has all these things that I'm sure I could come to the conclusion that the Yuka app does, but they have a scoring system that they tell you. They take all that information.
Like Weight Watcher points.
Yeah, and they score it based like there could be one ingredient in there that really fucks the score up.
Can
And
you
in the
see
case
this?
of the
What do I want? Top or bottom?
YUKA, the bottom one there.
Thank you.
But the reason why I brought it up is because the grenade bar was the lowest scoring thing I've ever seen on it. It was a 4 on 100.
What was in there that set
There's
the alarm
one.
bells
There
off?
was like one thing that apparently.